So, where you last left off, just to give you a quick recap, you got ambushed by snipers, took an expedition with a salvage drone up to this Baldor starship wreck, and then saw a blob, got convinced by an elf to go to another starship wreck, but this time owned by the Imperium. You all prepped your shit and went out. So, I assume that we're starting in the beginning of our journey. If you have anything to discuss with each other before we, get a little bit further ahead, now would be the time.
Nothing I can think of.
Same.
I'm pretty good. I'm just
I
kind of
Can't
sitting
really
in
think
the
of anything at the moment.
I'm just sitting in pseudo cockpit, making sure the machines are all running nicely.
Tim Tom is standing over, or kind of like
One thing
crouching over his shoulder, just watching what he does.
Nope. Bare eyes. They're kind of glazed over, uncomfortable.
Witness.
Bear witness.
It's to your doom.
Bear
Anyway.
witness.
Alright, so we get some time ahead. I'm gonna say this is about the halfway mark of day one of transferring to this place, keeping in mind that I believe that last session it had taken 2 days to get here, so this will be your third day out.
But we would have all our stamina back, right?
Yeah, I mean, you'd
How
get
much
some rest before this
HP would
time.
we get back?
If you guys are not resting physically, I mean, I don't think that you guys rested after you talked with the elf, or what?
Oh, I did.
You're just kind of resting inside the cockpit.
Yeah, because I also imagine Tim Tom is also like, for those who need it, applying medical aid to those that need it. You know, just to get them back
Right.
up on their feet.
We'll say that we are going to begin with this treatment before we head out. So go ahead and roll me a
Fuck
medicine
God.
check to treat, long-term wounds.
As
This
Tim
mission is
Tom's
very
like,
long.
as Tim Tom's wrapping bandages, sterilizing wounds, I imagine he's doing this to Vaku. You know, Vaku, believe it or not, I've also had to perform amputations without any anesthetic.
Nope.
I'm pretty
Oh,
good at this,
no.
actually.
I'll
Eight.
roll
Hopefully-
this.
Hopefully, it won't need that.
Yeah, don't you worry.
That 20 pushes you just to a point where your patients will restore HP at twice the usual rate. So that would be a 6 HP to pretty much everybody.
Oh,
So
nice.
6 HP to everyone,
And as far as getting stamina
including
back,
myself.
you have to spend a resolve point for that, right?
I'm going to say at the beginning of this session, you have your resolve and your stamina restored.
Okay.
Okay, so I'd
Okay.
still be at 8 HP.
So fill up your stamina, fill up your resolve. If you don't do it, you don't get it.
And we said we all restored 6 HP.
Yeah. Just because you're resting with medical attention.
Right.
Alright, have we all got that done?
Yes.
Yes.
Like I said, about midday of your first day's journey out to this strange other wreck site, it passes pretty uneventfully. Nothing's really there to interrupt your journey, and you get a sense that further out here from civilization, it's mostly just wild animal encounters and strange oddities. The landscape, I imagine, is growing a bit more untamed as you go out into this mountainscape. And by the end of the first day's journey, you're starting to notice that it's growing a bit chilly.
I'll wrap myself in my wings and kind of
Can
curl
Tim
up
Tom
in
find like a
ball.
tarp
A tarp?
or like something to wrap himself up with?
I imagine it's not that hard to get a hold of a tarp, considering that you're a caravan with a salvage drone that has compartments that can be opened and dug out. So there's probably a tattered cloth in there that's almost rotted away that you could bind yourself in.
Tim Tom
It
kinda
looks like my
throws it over his
armor's got
shoulder
like
and has like
some
a
sort
shawl.
of thermal capabilities in it. So
Yeah, I imagine it's pretty comfortable.
yeah.
That being said, This night, the watch goes uneventfully, so we're not going to have anybody do any checks.
I'm gonna put my dog outside real quick. I'll be back.
Hmm?
Wait, so wait, are you saying that we should establish, like a fucking...
No, I'm saying that I'm skipping over the checks for the night because nothing happens.
Okay, I got you. Once again, I don't really have much of anything I can think of right now.
Fair enough. Suppose we'll start up at the beginning of the second day's journey, in which most of you begin to notice that in the distance, it was already present, but now that you're moving towards it, you're kind of becoming aware of it in your general path. You are heading towards snow-lined trees and climbing up a mountain.
Yeah. This is fine.
Fine for everybody?
Wait, that's a pretty vista.
It is pretty
This is
nice.
gonna get real fucking chilly.
Hey, don't you worry there. If you ever get a little chilly, I'm 1,200 pounds of fur, fat,
Oh,
and muscle.
God.
I will save that as an absolute last resort, thank you.
We'll cut you open and crawl inside you.
Oh, God.
Fucking Tim Tauntaun.
Tim Tauntaun.
Oh, shit.
Oh, I already used my rest token for you,
Yep.
so...
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna die.
How are you all looking, Destiny mission-wise?
This thing is taking way too fucking long.
Yeah, honestly,
Not almost done.
It's pretty distracting.
I'm about
Yes,
to
it
cancel.
is.
Yeah, let's
Yep,
cancel.
alright, we're done. Yep,
Yep.
we died.
We died.
These
Yep.
missions are too hard to fucking
We
split
died!
focus
We
on.
live again!
Okay, I'm back.
Alrighty, to give you a brief update, party watched through the night, starting to make a trek up towards a snowy pass, starting to climb up a mountain.
All right.
Tim Tom's gonna talk to Yarich a little bit about potentially at one point making like a small reconnaissance drone, like a small like quadcopter reconnaissance drone with like cameras, maybe a thermal camera that can just like fly around us and notify us if like it's like, oh hey, what about this idea? It's like what
That
about, like, a
would
tiny
be
little
much
drone
better
that
than
can like
the
just fly
physical
around
watch.
us and just if it picks up some sort of heat signature, it'll alert us. You know, so
Yes.
we'll be
And I
less
might-
likely to get horrifically ambushed again and shot. I'm not a fan of being shot. It's actually quite painful.
Yeah, I've been shot several times, but I hate the cracks in my exoskeleton. They hurt.
Either way, what are you? Like, can I find, like, where do I go to find, like, books about physiology about you? Because I have never encountered one of your kind. I don't know how to actually treat you.
Oh, hold on. Yari just going to pull up some documentation from that he's been keeping on himself and his species from other people who visit his homeworld and send it to Tim Tom.
Tim Stom starts looking through the Lymantria. It's a Lymantrian, right?
Yes.
Yes.
The Lymantrian physiology, and he kind of sits there, scrolls through it a bit, and then stops, and his head kind of like tilts a little to the side, looks at you.
Yes, I'm going to get a lot bigger when
How old are you?
about 3 years.
And Tim Tom like just has like this moment like, hey, how are you here? Tim Tom
Yari
kind of has like that moment of why is a child wielding a gun in a combat zone kind of like mentality. It's like, why are you here? You should not
you
be
did
out
read
here
the-
doing this.
You did read the part that we reach maturity at 6 years, yes?
It's maturity at 6 years. You're 3.
Yeah.
You're
I
like
was-
the equivalent of a 12-year-old.
Yeah, I was with someone I consider what you would call a father figure before he got taken away from me and I got trapped on that barge.
Tim Tom kind of like pats him on the head. listen, just do me a favor. If people start shooting, don't go out. Okay? Like, stay behind some preferably very thick cover where people can't see you. Please. Tom kind of goes back to reading this. She's like, why the fuck do we have a child get rolling with us?
He might only be 3, but he knows what he's doing. I don't think he should change his combat tactics just because you know his age now.
After all, something dog years, maybe his kind reach mental maturity faster than ours. Although from his behavior, you wouldn't think it. I'm just fucking with you, kid. Don't worry
I've
about
never met many
Maybe,
3-year-olds who could
but
hack
it's
into
still-
highly advanced security networks, so...
Maybe,
I
but-
say in jest, yeah. He's
It's
learned
still-
a lot in a very short period of time.
It's still,
So, that
Still
kind of
doesn't
brings up the question.
tickle me well.
How long do your people usually live for, Yarich? Are you gonna, like,
Well, 40 years at around maximum.
I guess
Huh.
that makes sense.
Honestly, I'm a little surprised that you live that long, considering how fast you, how quickly you learn and develop.
Once I hit the maturity, once I hit my maturity and start really shedding my exoskeletons, the aging process really slows down.
It's about this time that you guys are in mid-conversation that you noticed a particularly cold burst of air. It whips through the forest, kind of brushing through like a gentle breeze. But whenever it reaches you, it seems to pick up the pace and wash over. If anybody is paying attention to their thermometers on their little computers and comm data, it would record the temperature as dropping steadily from 40 to 39 degrees, and somewhat over the minutes, just kind of dropping even further. At this point, as you've spent most of this day traveling, it is now, like, past the border point where you are changing the biomes and climbing to a high enough altitude that you are starting to see snow peaking and kind of topping the majority of the trees you're wandering across.
Tom is standing, like, when he sees snow, he's just standing there with his tongue out, trying to catch snowflakes on his tongue.
Nope.
Gotcha.
It's discomforting.
Yeah, that's odd.
Tom seems to be enjoying the snow.
I secretly wish that a bird would fly over and shit on you.
Karth is
Give me a D100 roll, Ankos.
All right, fine. In 1 second here.
Why? Why did you have to open your mouth?
Unfortunately for you, you wish for this bird to come flying over and shit on him. And you do see a bird off in the distance, but it's just circling lazily overhead, like it doesn't care.
Tom does not get hit with a scatological incident.
Alright. So, about this time, your journey is starting to come to an end here, pilots. The end of the second day's journey, traipsing into these mountainscapes. And as the giant salvage drone begins to rumble to a stop, and you spend the first few hours settling down and trying to make camp, what precautions are you taking against the cold?
I'm going to set up the. I'm going to see if I can reroute the heat from the engine of this massive machine to help keep us warm.
Oh,
Yeah,
like the
are you-
exhaust?
Are you gonna point the exhaust into?
Are you gonna give us all
Tyler?
CO2 poisoning?
No, not the exhaust. Like,
Maybe
see
like
if it.
just the radiator. Maybe just rewires a radiator so that way you have like a little space heater radiator.
It is worth noting that this salvage drone is not, like, turning off completely.
Yeah, I'm not gonna make the exhaust come to us because that's just a recipe for disaster. But see if I can.
A suicide technique? Yes.
Yes.
Alright, so go ahead and
I'm
give
gonna
me...
chill out inside the carrier because, like, even with my suit, I probably still would risk hypothermia if I stayed outside too long without
That's a
warmth.
good idea.
Yeah.
I imagine that therm skin probably takes and reflects thermal heat.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Probably put on, like, my coat or something.
Engineering.
Yeah, engineering, you're gonna try and rig up a makeshift heat shelter, which you do quite effectively over a period of a couple hours. Now, as Yarreach is taking that tarp that Tim Tom has wrapped himself in and is kind of rigging it up with several other pieces of cloth to trap in the heat from a radiator that's been dismounted, what are the rest of you doing?
Does it
Setting up a
look
tent,
like
probably.
wildlife might be around here?
If you want to try a hunt, if that is your periphery, you can either give me a survival or a perception check followed by a stealth check.
God, Tim Tom's about to go full feral.
You just see Tim Tom load up a couple rounds in a shotgun. If I'm not back in 20, just call me. Tim Tom walks off in the woods.
I was expecting to get on all fours and just assume animal instinct again.
Oh no.
Bear.
There's my
So,
perception.
Yeah, you are wandering around, but give me a stealth check to see how well you
I
do.
am not. I don't have skill.
You don't have stealth?
No.
Alrighty. You wander around for a bit until eventually you hear what seems to be a very large and loud shuddering noise from the nearby snowy trees. And emerging from out of this mass of pine is a very large furred figure of a bear that is just kind of creeping along. And as soon as you get within eye line of each other, you both stop and exchange looks.
A bear meets Tim Tom.
Bear meets a boo boo, not your average bear. Tim Tom just kind of stops, looks at it. Cool.
I'm pretty sure bears are pretty territorial. I'm sure this is gonna go
Sure.
well.
Go on now. Oh, hang on.
It kind of backs off for a bit and shakes its head. It almost looks like it's sniffing the air around you, but it's standing its
I'm
ground.
trying to air tags talk to it.
What check would you like to make?
I don't know what this would be.
I don't know, but if you roll low, you better be ready to test it.
I would say probably
Bear diplomacy?
intelligence.
Yeah, bear diplomacy.
Do
It's
you
just
have
bare necessities.
diplomacy?
Yes, I do have diplomacy. It's a -1, but I
Is
have
it
diplomacy.
handle animals still a skill in this?
I don't think so.
That's weird.
I guess it'd just be like charisma or something.
I guess animals don't exist in the future.
This is true. It might fall under a profession for a rancher or something like
that
that.
would make sense.
Maybe survival, honestly.
Oh, okay. I don't have survival.
Anyway, if you want to give me bear diplomacy,
Yeah, I
The
did.
diplomacy,
you
it's
did.
a 1. It's a
I
2
imagine-
-1.
you're just making these noises and it's riling up this thing until eventually it stands on its 2 legs and it's looking at a mirror image.
Oh, hey there. Can you just go away? Shoo.
It starts hobbling towards you.
Hey. It's aggressively, kind of?
Yeah.
Retreat.
It falls onto all fours and starts chasing you.
Tim Tom freaks out and just points shotgun and just starts unloading into it.
Give me an attack.
Did we hear the gunshot, Levi?
Yeah, I
This
imagine
is,
you will hear the gunshot as the scattergun pellets disappear into this thing's pelt, and it is still charging right towards you.
This is fratricide, by the way.
Yeah, you've reached a clearing. I'll give you one other attack before it's on you.
Run.
So I imagine, most of the party has probably heard these twin scattergun shots and has abandoned their heated campsite. And when they find Timothy Thomas, he is currently clashed claw to claw with a wild bear.
Okay. Can we tell which one is Tim and
That's-
which one is the bear?
That's the fun part, is it's going to strike him. I assume a 23 impacts you,
Yeah,
right?
it's a 23 impact. What the fuck kind of bear is this?
It's a large predator, a CR4 creature.
Oh,
It deals 15 points of damage. Why are these things just brutally maiming everybody?
cool.
Why aren't
After
they?
Tim Tom takes that hit, he's like,
Just clawed.
Tim
Gonna
Tom starts
claw
running,
them.
fuck, and just pulls out his pistol and is going to attempt to use a inhibitor, or not, yeah, an inhibitor on him.
Yeah, you both see the clash of this bear versus Timothy as it's going to try and get another claw attack against you.
One hell of a family dispute, huh?
What?
Oh,
Okay, that's a 20.
Oh dear.
Maybe, hmm.
I
So-
didn't intend for this thing to maim or kill Timothy. Did my 20 go away?
Yeah.
We'll erase it.
Oh well, that's fine. I'll give it another chance to hit you. I want you at least a decent HP for the fucking encounter, and not a literal 20 on every fucking roll it
yes, that
deals.
hits.
Another 10 points of damage, which should bring down your stamina and inflict some minor injury, shouldn't it?
Yeah,
You're now down to 10 hit points.
yeah. So
But
Tim
you
Tom's running,
run away from this thing, and you all see a clothed bear running as fast as he can, looking
and
terrified.
Tim Tom's going to like point his pistol over his back, and he's going to pop it with a inhibitor that reduces his movement speed by 10.
Alrighty, give me the attack. Alright. That would be still not enough to hit a singular bear.
You see Tim
The
Tom
dart disappears behind the pelt, and as soon as it sees like 6 or 7 party members emerging from out of the forest, Timothy like runs over and probably, I don't know, falls to the ground, is just like, oh god, thank god you're here. This bear decides that it doesn't want to fight like 6 people and just kind of goes from its 2-legged posture back down to its 4-legged and starts wandering away into the forest.
I thought I would just find some rabbits or something. I'm sorry.
As you
Tim
do
Tom-
this, I'm just gonna like
Sorry?
look down at you and lean back at the retreating bear. Go, what? Did you get in an argument with your girlfriend or something?
Nope.
Tim Tom will remember this.
Uh-oh.
Tim Tom just stops when you say that, looks up at you with like this look of primal disgust.
I shrug and go, well, are you at least okay? You look like you took a bit of a whack.
I'll be fine. Let's just get back to the rover. This was a dumb idea anyway.
I
The
mean,
person
I
who is-
Something
figured
that wasn't flavorless goo.
if somebody here was going to be able to go into the woods and bring back some prey for some fresh meat, it would be the fucking bear.
I had the same exact thought.
The bear that is accustomed to civilization has never, like, gone on a hunting trip before.
Well,
Guys, me, I've never done this before.
well, it's okay. You're fine. I mean, if it makes you feel any better, I think if any of us would have come face to face with a bear, we would have also died. Well, we would have died. You didn't also die. Anyway, you need to
To
give
remind you, that bear had the same stats as the large wolves that you fought in the fucking vampire encounter.
Oh.
Fuck me.
Why are they still so painful?
Jesus.
Well, let's get you back to camp and dress those wounds before they get infected.
Tim Tom just walks back to the camp with head hanged low. He just has this defeated look about him.
So, you all tend to your medical mishaps.
I
I
do
shall
another
roll
medicine
for it.
check on myself.
Yeah, another assist from y'all each. It's still 10. Wait, no. That was the exact.
I was going to take control, seeing as
I will allow this, seeing as how I want you guys to have more health. So, for this instance, that roll will be a 23 because Timothy Thomas would be assisting the moth. And everybody in the party would get back 6 HP.
Excellent.
Thank God.
because you're doubling your hit point regeneration.
Timothy just finds
He's
a nice
binding
cozy
his
place,
wounds.
just lies down.
Timothy, if you want, you can spend a point of resolve and get back your stamina.
I'm reloading my fucking shotgun pistol.
I see. Make sure that
Yeah,
you
I'll
subtract it from your ammo total.
Yeah, I'll spend a thing of resolve.
Huh? I must have not had max stamina last session because I only have 12 right now.
Like I said, regenerate your stamina. If you don't do it, you don't have it.
Oh, sorry. Shit. Okay.
Alrighty. So, you will spend this night tending to your wounds, watching the outskirts, or that fucking bear just in case it comes back for round 2. And the night passes uneventfully. By your next day, it is very clear that you are beginning to reach this thing because you spot something that looks unnatural on the horizon. This mountainscape that you are beginning to climb has flattened out into a ledge that appears to just be kind of like a rocky plateau that is bordered by another mountain to its left. As you are climbing on this thing, the trees begin to disappear, and you start to notice a steep decline in the cold. You are up high enough to where your thermometer is now reading somewhere around the range of 20 to 25 degrees.
I'm guessing.
I'm staying inside the
Fun.
cabin at all times during this.
When we're
Yeah.
using that tarp, Tim Tom is wrapping himself in a tarp.
Alrighty. As you continue to approach this thing's crash site, I have the art to share.
You do
Token
not
vision.
own any token vision in this scene.
Ah, excellent. Thank you, Foundry. I can always trust you to fuck up my moments.
I saw it and it was cool, Levi.
I'm
That
sure.
fucking
Yeah, you have GM power.
Mass
You can
Effect.
see it. There we go.
Ooh.
Sitting on the edge of a frozen lake embedded halfway into the earth is definitely what appears to be foreign technology. Splitting up almost like a spire turned on its side, this crashed Imperium technology has lain dormant for you're not even certain how long. It is not obvious from this far away how to actually get access to the internals of this thing.
I need to let my dog inside. I'll be back.
Alright.
So, Mr. Mechanic Man, got any ideas?
Well, first, my thought is, do we leave this baby here for now while we go and clean up the inside, or do we go ahead and take it over and see if we can make a hole inside?
Does this thing have like an acetylene? Does this rig have like an acetylene torch,
Yes.
like an acetylene cutter?
Oh, this salvage drone has its own utility bank that lets it perform these almost surgical operations on wrecks and ruins.
I'm back.
Yeah,
So-
would it have like ones we could take with us to like cut doors?
Not any that you can take immediately. You have what you have on hand.
Hey, you got like a grind saw, sawzall, acetylene torch, plasma cutter.
All those are permanently attached to this, and they have their own power. They need a large power source that we can't currently
Hell, do you
provide.
think we might be able to have a team go up, clear it up, make sure the area is clear, and then call you in and bring you in and have you just manipulate?
That would probably be the most wisest.
So, Levi,
Yes.
do we have to cross this lake to get to the ship?
I imagine if you took the long way around, you probably could avoid it. This thing's bordering the edge of the frozen lake, so it's still on firm ground.
Okay. How thick is the ice? Can we tell?
If you want to go over and walk and look down into it, give me a perception check.
Okay.
The
Well,
whites are hiding beneath the
perception.
glass. The whites are hiding beneath the ice.
There we are.
So, you start walking across the edge of this lake, keeping in mind that you have firmly tested that this is capable of supporting your weight. And as you continue walking, you notice a stern drop in temperature as it plummets from its nice and comfortable, quote unquote, comfortable 29, even further down by a few degrees. Walking along this ice bank, eventually you find kind of a sign of what you're looking for. It started at about, like, hip height, but the further that you cross through this lake, you start to notice strange things, like objects trapped underneath the ice. And eventually you find a snowbank which you kind of kick over just a little bit to brush to get a good distinctive look. And you see what appears to be a person underneath the ice, now far deeper than a waist depth. Underneath, trapped completely and likely very well preserved, is a individual in dark, spiky armor, no skin visible.
Disconcerting. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna wave 447 over and sort of point out this shape under the ice.
So I go ahead and head over the Carthan, and I kneel down towards the ice and take a closer look.
You would also see the frozen soldier.
Something tells me that that's what your elf friend is a little upset about.
Don't know what you want me to do about it.
I bet that whatever we're going to fight inside this ship is probably what's down there as well.
Well, we still have to find a way in there first.
I'm going to get on comms and ask the two, what exactly are you looking over there?
Yeah, they're waiting on the safer end on solid ground.
Hearing your reach buzz it onto my comm unit, I stand up to my full height, and I raise my hand up to my comm unit, press down on it, and I reply with the simple, "Popsicles."
Popsicles?
I've got a body,
Oh,
a
what
dead
kind?
one.
Oh, what kind? I'm really a big
dead
fan of. Oh,
body.
wait. You're not talking about the fruity kinds, are you?
Now he's talking more about the flesh and blood kind.
So, have I established that the ice is thick enough that we can actually
Absolutely.
take the drone across it?
I would absolutely determine that you could do that.
Okay. So Cartha's going to pull out his comm and, ice is thick enough that we should be able to cross without an issue.
All right, I'm gonna start bringing my buggy up then over the ice.
Alrighty, the car makes its way, as well as the salvage drone, which is directed along a path which is a bit more solid, but still over the ice. You make it to the bare edge of this machinery. The dark metal, preserved in the places where it hasn't suffered crash damage, and broken apart in the places where it seems to have impacted. As you cross into the snowbank, I would like, let's say Vaku. I'd like you to make a reflex save.
Reflex save?
Hey, I'm gonna be right back. My fucking Uber Foods is almost here.
Sounds good. So an 18. As you start crossing into the banks, keeping a careful mind of where you are putting your feet, as one of your feet presses down into the snow, you feel a disruption, like something was moving, and wrench your leg back as what appears to be a hand grasps for your foot. And you look down to see a skeletal hand embedded in the snowbank, just kind of reaching up and clawing out at the open air.
I think we have undead here.
We were told there would be.
Didn't think they'd just be out and about like that, though.
That being said, it is not an immediate danger, just at this point kind of amusing because it's just a hand in the middle of nowhere.
So, Yarich is going to go back to the popsicle.
If I
If it's not too far, that is.
Well, you can go back to the popsicle.
Yari's just going to look down and could his little drone take maybe an hour to pull this thing out?
It would take more than an hour. It's buried a good distance down.
Fair enough. If it's going to take longer than that, I'm going to go back and just wait for the sign of clear. Have my rifle ready to defend my allies from the cockpit.
Alrighty. That being said, are you all just going to, like, walk around this skeletal hand?
Yeah, I'd rather.
I'm going to carefully eyeball it. Actually, I'm gonna.
Now
Never
that
mind.
Now that, you know, nobody's been disturbing the snow around it, you notice the hand just kind of goes stock still in a grasping motion.
Oh, this is unsettling. So what? Who here knows a lot about mysticism and stuff like that? Yarich, you do? Yeah, I'm gonna ask
hold on.
Yarich.
Hold on.
He gets out
Pulling
of the
out-
car, pulls out his Ghostbusters kit.
Yes.
What causes this?
Hold on. Let me check the anomalies that are plaguing this.
I mean, you're getting a lot of negative energy readings here. It's very obvious to you that this in particular case, this unliving thing, this hand that is sticking up out of the ice, is likely a mindless undead minion. It is simply a corpse animated by an energy that is yet to be studied by the Syndicate.
From what I can tell, the energies that are plaguing this, well, this thing is like a puppet for all intents and purposes. It has one. It only does what it's told to do, and from what I can tell, it's only grasps onto things if it knows there's things there.
So, like the
The
Long Ear
source-
told us, there's Imperium soldiers holed up in here using some kind of ability to reanimate the dead.
Yes,
So, nothing we didn't
they are
already
the
know.
ones in. Yeah.
I'm just more interested in the technical aspects of resurrecting, you know, corpses like this.
I'm not
I know that
entirely
I
sure.
know that we're kind of zombies in a sort of fucked up sense, but still, this is unnerving.
I'm not
I
entirely
cannot
sure there's anything
talk about
technical about it.
I'm not sure about the spiritual implications. Yari says, clawing his hands into quotation marks. But I can say that this energies, what I can tell is almost it almost takes from the area around it, as if it's needs absorbs life. It's energy itself around it to move. I don't
Well-
know how to put this anyway other than quote unquote dark energies, and I hate putting it that way.
You could just call it voodoo and move on.
Maybe there's a medical reason.
Yari almost glares.
No, it's a skeletal hand.
Oh,
Yarich is going to grab. Is there? There's probably no stick nearby. Like, what could I use to brush off the snow from the skeletal hand?
You can just
mean-
grab one of the bones from one of the other skeletal hands that are nearby.
Well, you haven't found any other skeletal hands yet. That being said, if you have anything in your inventory, or maybe just a piece of scrap metal.
I'll use a piece of scrap metal to try see
I do have
to
like this
see
spare
if there's more to the
long
skeletal
sword just
hand.
in my fucking inventory. I can just
Yeah.
like poke at it with the sword.
I imagine that as Yarich is looking for metal, Vaku is fucking with the skeletal hand. He's like poking it with the sword, and it almost looks like it's trying to scratch the surface of the blade, but the hardness is preventing it from doing any damage. So it's just kind of like scrabbling and scratching across, leaving small marks.
Could you see if there's a further skeleton attached to it?
Are you going to try and unearth the skeleton?
I'd rather not. I can just like
Should we
Just
really be
swing the blade
wasting
and
this
just
much
stick-
time on a disembodied hand? I don't know if
You know-
you've noticed, but we're approaching sub-zero temperatures, and we still haven't found a way
Yeah.
inside the room we're supposed to be scavenging.
Yeah, we need to get moving. This is an interesting curiosity, but we should probably drop it.
Okay,
Yeah,
Alright.
before we
We'll
leave,
move.
I want to like swing at the hand to see if I can like dismember it.
Give me an attack roll with the longsword.
I mean, collecting a sample might actually not be a bad idea.
11.
So you bring the sword to bear and simply just like cleave this hand from it's like the firm bones that are attached to it, and you find that there's no like residual skin or cartilage. That's all just withered away. So this hand just goes flying off. Give me a damage roll with it. 10 points. You straight up just like fling this hand off into the distance, and it just impacts the snow. There is now a disembodied hand, like completely skeletal, lying in a snowdrift not far from you.
Nice.
It'd
And
be
Tom
funny
will
if
go
it was
pick it
flipping
up.
you off.
I'm gonna go look at that hand and see what the fuck where it went. You
Its
know?
fingers are
You're
still
already
like
just going to go.
curling, but like it doesn't have any way to like turn or pivot, so it's like a turtle on its back, just like grasping at open air.
Yeah, Tim Tom will pick it up.
Yari's just going to check his readings once again and see if this has somehow changed the readings of the skeletal hand. Or
Seeing the party continue to fuck with the skeletal hand, I just kind of fucking let out a long sigh and fucking try to find a way into the ruin.
If nobody
Yeah.
that is, if nobody in my car was fucking with the hand, I'm just going to drive away.
Yeah, as most of the party continues to drive away and find an opening into this relic, you walk over and see this still clinging to life, like skeletal hand, or its unlife. You find that there is a thin wisp of energy connecting it to the larger mass of negative energy, as if it were tethered. You get a sense that if you returned it to its original position, it'd likely lock into place.
Alright. I was more worried that this would alarm the people inside.
You don't get a sense that the skeletal hand has any radio connections.
Fair enough.
Maybe it has some sort of psychic linkage or something.
That's what I was
know.
thinking.
Tim Tom, for shits and giggles, wants to do a fucking medicine check on the hand.
Oh my god. Give me a
Yes,
medicine.
it is a
Yari
dead
just
hand.
at this point is moving forward with the big machine, looking for a place to actually cut open the hole.
You do identify something a bit strange. It looks like the hand does not belong to a human.
Really?
Well, it's not a human hand.
Yep, it looks like it belongs to a drow.
Huh.
It's a bit not obvious at first glance, but you quickly join back up with the rest of the party. Do you collect the hand?
Sure, I collect the hand. I'll take the hand with me.
You collect the hand, you put it in a plastic baggie, and it is now... You now have a skeletal hand in a plastic baggie.
You
Nice.
now have the
Awesome, I'll add that to
skeletal
my
hand
inventory.
of Sal Tegris.
Oh no.
Oh,
Oh,
So, you traipse over to the surface of this flat, unmarred alien metal and begin looking for some kind of entrance. And you get a sense that whatever was used to, like, board this craft probably was collapsed in the crash. If you wanted to breach this thing after getting a good look around, you would probably have to cut into it using the salvage drone.
Alright. I think there's no other option at this point. Yari just going to say, get back, make sure there's no skeletal hands in front of us. Oh, and I'm going to begin activating the machine to start collecting metal.
Alrighty. It begins to vivisect the side with this shearing sound of tearing metal. Hissing nozzles and flames. Eventually, it cuts a sizable chunk out of the exterior hull. And after maybe an hour of you all standing in the midst of this terrible weather, I'd like you all to give me fortitude saves.
Okay.
Okie dokie, Dr. Jones.
Oh,
Wow,
Wow.
that's awesome.
I mean, I
Mother-
got a thermal
You know
suit,
what?
so like that should
I'm
help a
going
little bit.
to.
It should.
I'm going to use my once a day.
I wouldn't waste it on this.
Fair enough.
Let me-
I'll deal with it. I'll deal with it.
Yeah, I am going to say I will give you a +2 bonus to your fortitude save for that therm skin, which brings it to a 14, which still fails. So all of you would suffer 3 points of damage that you would take away from your stamina, and this is non-lethal for anybody that even cares.
Alright.
Yeah. Well,
I'm glad I didn't.
Karth is going to kind of huddle
Shivering.
his moat between his hands to try and keep warm.
It is a grueling task waiting for this thing to cut its way into this starship, but after the end of the hour, you eventually hear one final swoop, and the plate, the last one that was holding it in place from breaching an internal compartment, hits the ground and then falls inward and makes a large clattering noise. And there is now a man-sized hole into the interior of this vessel.
So, Yarich is going to do something. He's going to check, see how full the device is. The compartments for the scrapper.
It has not really done much, so it's still at half capacity.
Alright, understood.
It's taken away a single plate of metal in order to burrow a hole into the device.
Tom
Alright.
pulls out his
Yarich
phone,
is going
turns on
to
a flashlight, and cocks his shotgun.
Yarich is going to move this thing far enough away that he doesn't think it's in any immediate danger from anything coming out.
Fair enough. You all want to go ahead and proceed to board this vessel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it gets me out of this fucking wind, absolutely.
Get
So,
inside.
So, what's our marching order gonna be here? I think the stronger combat-focused people should be in the front and the back, just in case, tight quarters. We don't know if we're gonna get engaged from the front or the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, Karth will start at the front of the pack.
alrighty.
I will go second place so that I can be the eyes, I suppose.
I will go third place, so that way I'm more or less in the middle of the group in case someone goes down.
I'll go beside Tim Tom.
Understandable. So
I guess I'll shore up the back and,
yeah, you breach into the side compartment of this thing and enter a large, hollow space. It does not look like it was meant for people to traipse through, and there's no floor or deck or anything. However, you do notice at the bottom of this small, almost kind of tubular section, there are small packages and what appear to be long dried out supplies that have been opened and picked clean. There are a couple of bits of interesting doodads here and there, but it's all unrecognizable and requires some further exploration.
Yarich is going to pick up one of these doodads and slide it into his... Oh! Yarich is going to try to slide it into his second skin, but it stopped. He's
What?
going to pull out the blanket.
The blanket?
Okay.
The one that he kind of took from that one place.
Yes. What about the blanket?
From the one place.
He's going to go. Yarge is just confused that he forgot to put this up in a secure place.
Tim Tom holds his hand out. Can I see that?
Yari
blanket.
turns the blanket.
Tim Tom wraps the blanket over his shoulders.
No,
Like a
not for me.
cape.
Kinda, yeah, but more like to keep himself warm.
Alright, with
So-
that, Yari is going to take some of the strange parts and just put into his hidden compartment.
Also, just to point out, Tim Tom if Yarich goes off, Tim Tom's going for Yarich.
Fair enough. You all
Yeah.
explore the site component for a little bit, and you find that one piece of interesting machinery. The particular things that you grabbed appear almost to be like a set of goggles, but you're not quite certain what they do. You get a sense that they aren't just safety equipment, that they do something more interesting, but...
There'll be something I'll research later.
So
right.
as we explore the ship, could I make a culture check to try to find out what its origin is whenever we're getting
Oh,
inside?
certainly. Give me a culture check. So you get a sense, based on the room that you are currently in right now, you are not in any kind of actual, like, ship interior piece. This is the equivalent of soldiers filling compartments with extra space with goods because they have nowhere else to store it.
Right.
So this is basically just kind of like bulk cramping goods into tight spaces. But you have heard rumors of strange ships in Syndicate territories, ones that don't broadcast IFF tags and disappear before any proper, like, research or study can be conducted. And it's always been chalked up to some kind of strange glitch or technical phenomenon, because there's no way that a ship could make that kind of practical escape. You feel like this might be the source of those explanations, because you've never recognized this class of ship before, and you do get a sense that it does belong to the Tenebrous Imperium, that this is one of their strange dark ships.
I will muse out loud that, I wonder what the odds are that this is a dark ship of some kind. Just so that everybody else can
Just because this isn't something that's, like, popularly known. It isn't common knowledge. This is kind of like pure speculation on your point.
Right.
Hey, Levi,
Yes.
is there any way I could potentially judge the age of this wreckage?
If you want to do a chronological dating, I would probably say it's physical science.
Ooh, I can do that.
Do have physical science. Oh, plus 10 physical science. 18.
I have 10.
I assume that Timothy will be taking the lead and you'll be helping.
Yeah. He was the one who suggested it this time.
With a 20, I'll say that you get an accurate chronological reading, and you get a sense that this wreckage is probably 150 years old. Older than the war between the Syndicate and House Baldur.
This ship's
Almost
about
twice as
150
old.
years old.
Mm.
Or has at least been here for about that long.
It's fairly old, I guess.
Shocked that it hasn't been absolutely picked clean.
Maybe
Well-
it's because it's in such a remote place.
Or, you know,
Maybe it's because it's inhabited and the inhabitants are protecting it.
True.
that too.
So is there a hatch we can find to the next?
Yeah,
next
no.
area?
After some exploration, you eventually find a simple hatch which seems to lead into an interior compartment. You will climb one by one into it.
Yeah. So here's a question: is there seemingly any power to this place, or?
Oh
is
no,
it-
it's dead cold. You're having to pull like physical latches and releases and having to force these doors open. They're pretty heavy too.
Understood. Understood. I was just curious if there was like any sort of just remaining charge from, I don't know.
Right. So, you all enter into this new compartment and find that you are entering what almost appears to be a desiccated cargo bay. What was once a northward entrance is now nothing but ruins and wreckage. The other end, however, is pretty well preserved. In fact, you find the remnants of about, I would say, 4 or so corpses of just shriveled up, dried husks, just kind of laying about.
I'm going to get my rifle trained on the husk. Knowing that we're dealing with things that animate the dead. Yeah,
I wonder how this ship got here.
it probably crashed after
Tim,
a fight.
when Tim Tom says it probably crashed, he gives you this look of, oh, yeah, don't say.
You know, I didn't really see any impacts on the hull. I mean, if it crashed, I wonder if it just went down to a mechanical failure, if somebody took it out of the sky.
It's worth mentioning the entire front section of the ship looks completely destroyed.
Right. I mean,
It
probably wouldn't have crashed. And not only that, but this thing is halfway under the fucking ice, so it's no
Maybe
telling.
Something it was transporting. I mean, I don't think undead are a very natural thing. Maybe something it was transporting caused it to go down.
Maybe.
We can't speculate until we get to the black box.
Well,
So-
we can only speculate until we get to the black box, actually.
Actually, yeah.
Do you all want to explore this cargo bay?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Good perception check.
I want to see if there's maybe some, like, juicy weapons or gear or things that we could use.
Yarich is still keeping an eye on the 4 corpses.
You can certainly do
God
so.
damn it.
So, as all of you join in your combined efforts, declare one leader and the rest of you are assisting.
Let's see. I'm gonna roll.
Well, I mean... I
We-
guess
we
I'll
need-
take
we
the
need to
leader
do
role.
this before we do this.
Yeah, I guess I'll probably take the leader role since I have the highest base perception here.
Sounds useful. So, we start with Ankos's base of 16. Then we will add 1, 2, 3. So, add 6 to your total roll, meaning that your total result is a 22. You all search around in this cargo bay, opening up crates, prying open things, keeping a careful eye on the husks, until eventually you find what appears to be a pretty sleek-looking black crate. It is made of an unknown metal, and whenever you reach over to it, it blinks on, almost as if it sensed your proximity.
When I see the blink, I'm gonna withdraw my hand from it, and I'm gonna look around the side for mechanisms for opening it, like fingerprint scanners, combination.
You find
locks,
that
latches.
there appears to be some kind of keypad to its right. Like on
Keypad.
this long, thin, almost waspish crate. Almost the size of a person.
Yarich is going to pull out his little adapters and try to start rebooting the entire system to allow us and
If I can give you an
Computers.
assistance for computers, actually. If
Give
you'd
me a
like.
computers check, Yarich.
Can I-
Anybody else that wants to assist.
Also roll. I will also roll with computers.
Shit!
So, with a total bonus of 34, it takes you a long time to crack into this. But eventually, sifting through these alien mechanisms in an unknown language, mind you, eventually you navigate and kind of click your way past a lot of these pretty similar, all-in-all, computer structures to Syndicate technology. There's definitely some oddities here and there, like you stumble into some roadblocks and dead ends, but it's a simple enough matter for you to, maybe over the course of 30 minutes, just kind of poking and prodding with it until eventually you guess something right, and you hear a click and a hiss of what appears to be air. It was a pressurized section.
Okay, once this starts to kind of open itself, I'm gonna stand up and take 1 or 2 steps back, just kind of eyeing the crate.
So,
He takes a stick and opens it up.
yeah, with the hissing and dispersal
Yarich
of
is
air,
going to stand back.
you find what almost appears to be a condensation building on the lid of this crate as it reaches open and continues to slowly maneuver into an open position. The interior of this crate was completely dark until a couple of lights, very dim and almost flickering, flick on, and you find what appears to be almost a suit of armor. There's something strange about it, like it's definitely different. Would anybody like to roll an engineering check to try and see what this is?
I will
Oh.
do so.
I will with expertise.
I won't even bother.
I mean, you never know.
Right. This all being said, you all quickly go over and try to determine what this is, and you find out that this isn't a suit of armor so much as it is a suit for environmental protection. This particular piece of technology is what's known as a planar spacesuit. It seems to be built to protect individuals that are wearing it from the shadow plane.
This could come in handy. If nothing else, we could probably sell it for a...
Incredibly specific piece of gear. We should tag this thing and come back to it later, though.
Yes.
Yeah,
Let's
I
not.
agree.
Yari just going to close the system and lock it back up, putting a new code into it.
0000.
No.
1234.
No.
8675309.
8675309.
T.123.
42069.
No.
42069.
You all are just trying to guess what the moth has used for a password.
Tim Tom's just
Basically.
sitting there scratching his chin. 1488.
Got. I'm not sure why that number gives me such a fight or flight response.
So,
Joking.
Anyways, well, we found this. We'll tag it for a return. Let's keep moving.
you all are going to keep going.
Right.
You travel, this time southwards, heading into what appears to be the main compartment. You find what looks like a lot of, like, suspended, almost hammocks for a bed. A very primitive method for people to sleep, all things considered. It's a little bit disconcerting that such an advanced level of technology would utilize such an unsophisticated means of transporting their own crew, until you realize there's no space for, like, storage or goods. The doors that you came through were armored. They weren't locked, probably because of the extent of the time that whatever means of locking them had degraded. You all get a sense that this is where they kept captives.
Oh.
Like, this does not look like it was made for crew. And as you walk in between these hammocks, you find the completely decomposed remains of a lot of people. Just
Do I
resting or slumped up against the walls. Some are in pairs, some are in trios with little tiny skeletons in between them.
Do I recall stories of these mysterious black ships being known to kidnap people?
There
do a
are
medicine check to
definitely legends of people getting abducted.
Well, this is stomach churning.
I want to do a medicine check to try to figure out cause of death on a couple of them.
Oh, sure. Give me a medicine check. The posture in which they're slumped and the genuine, like, architecture of the entire scenario, you'd have to reckon that these people were probably marooned in this room for a extended period of time. Some of them show signs of cannibalism. Other ones simply just laid in a corner and wasted away. There are scratch marks on the walls, and it's very evident that, the captives here during the crash survived the extent of their traumatic experience, and then were left to just rot away.
Fucking disgusting.
What a fucking horrible way to die.
Yeah,
Hey,
Karth will try and salvage in this room, see if they were left anything of value.
Sure, give me a perception check. Anybody who wants to take a perception check will be assisting Garth.
I will gladly roll perception.
Tom's gonna walk up to Karth and just. Can we not?
So
This was a disgusting display, but they're dead, and we need their supplies more than they do right now.
yeah, with your inclination and just kind of general attitude, I imagine as Tim Tom is asking, can you just not defile these people? I imagine Carthan just takes up Beamer and just kind of violently looking
Also,
around for any goods. Is that something
Also
you
just,
do?
Karth is definitely not like moving with respect of the dead. He kind of scatters some some unattached leg bones as he sort of shifts stuff around in the corner.
I see.
Tom is not okay with this.
That being said, though, Hooper, did you say that you had a personal opinion of what your character was going to do here?
I said, listen, I know this is disrespectful, but they're dead and we're not. We can use
Yes.
these supplies and they can't anymore.
Yeah.
Also, just a
doesn't
heads up
sit
though, like I said, one of the features I took last session for leveling up was Tactful Advisor, which means that I get an additional +1 bonus to assist rolls.
Nice.
Oh, nice. So that is a nice 25.
That being said, amidst all of these people, it looks like some of them managed to carry out a little bit of their treasures with them. Like, some of them have rings. Some of them have, like, probably jewelry that was passed down throughout their family. And as you all are sifting through all of this, and with that amazing check, you see what appears to be a family heirloom on the child skeleton. And as you go to pluck and pick it up from around his neck, you notice a little twitch.
Uh-oh.
Karth is going to reflex punch the skeleton in.
Oh
the
my
skull.
god!
Punch the child
I
skeleton.
will say I'm looking for technological artifacts and stuff that our employer would be interested in. I'm not personally interested in grave robbing.
So I see all this jewelry. I'm just like, ooh, yoink, yoink,
yeah,
yoink.
give me a stellar Kanobo attack.
Yeah, we're not.
So I imagine, as you go to like a reflex punch the skeleton, the moat lines your fist and creates a gauntlet for a split second, and this smash impacts the child skeleton right in the face. Roll damage.
God.
So, with a total of a 9, you hear a violent crunch as this thing's face is just caved in, and the child skeleton collapses to the floor completely dead. No longer unliving.
Tim Tom very quickly and reactively just like looks over, shotgun in direction, sees him, lowers shotgun.
Man, I know what I said about the dead not needing this stuff, but boy, that entire interaction makes me feel like a bit of a dirtbag. You steal from a dead kid and then punch him in the fucking face.
It fucking moved!
No, I'm not saying you were wrong. I'm just saying, man, that was... that was kind of fucked up.
Immediately, like, look up at the parent skeletons to see if they are also, like, articulating.
You see that their heads are starting to...
I go, oh fuck, no. If we see this, I'm pulling my gun out and I'm unloading into it.
Nope. The gauntlet becomes the full Kanabo.
Alrighty,
Alright,
so...
I'm whipping out my fucking bow staff, and I'm just gonna, like, start smacking these skulls.
As these skeletal pair are beginning to come to life, I will give you all a moment to act. So, Carthan, your action was to decimate the child's skull. Who's next?
Destroy the child.
Yari just gonna fire on the skeletal, seeing as he's been a little bit on edge this entire time.
19, that definitely hits. Who do you hit, the father or the mother?
God.
Father.
Alrighty. 6 points of damage. The gunshot impacts him, and you notice the actual shot itself as it burns away doesn't seem to do much. But, that being said, who's next?
I guess I'll go next after having noticed that while I was talking to Carthan, two of the skeletons just started to just look at you.
It just looks at you.
Oh,
Alright,
I
let
do
me get a
not
roll.
Like that.
Likewise, the next skeleton I see just jump up, I'm just gonna fucking smack with my stick.
Ankos, you whip out your pistol and go to fire at this thing, and it just doesn't seem to impact it in the slightest. It chips away a bit of bone, but it is now getting up.
Oh god.
Vaku, you're just going to hit one of these with the staff, father or the mother?
Was which one was hit earlier?
It looks like the father was.
All right, I'll hit the mother then.
Alrighty, give me the damage roll.
Allah help us.
A 10. That is enough to deal significant damage to it. That being said, though, this battle staff, as it comes into contact and cracks what appears to be the rib cage, and just kind of some splinters and shards, almost seem to droop for a second before they hover back into place, held together by negative energy. It would drop to that HP, and then it would be Tim Tom's turn to react.
Yeah, Tim Tom's seeing this. He doesn't like it.
17, absolutely. You'd shoot both of these skeletons with the scatter gun. Give me a damage roll. 3 points of damage. As the shotgun blast comes in and impacts the both of them, the splinters don't seem to do anything. Alright, with that, these two skeletons are going to begin to maul Carthan.
I never got to do anything.
Oh, did you want to act?
Yeah.
Go ahead. What do you want to do?
I'm aiming at the mother.
Oh,
She's taking the
Jesus.
most damage.
Alrighty, roll damage.
Do I have to roll to confirm that?
No. Roll crit damage, I believe.
Oh, there we go.
I don't think that critical confirmations are a thing anymore. That being said, though, you shoot the mom straight in the face, and the skull comes apart in a shattering rain of bone shards. The now headless skeleton is going to Molkarth.
Oh, fucking goddamn it.
Oh.
So first is a 10, second is a 22.
22 hits, 10 does not.
Alright. 6 points of damage to your stamina. So, as you all are trying to beat these skeletons to death, one of them just simply slashes across him. The mom's strike doesn't seem to do much, it's just kind of scraping against this light armor, and then the father kind of reaches in, clambers on, and goes to bite and inflicts an actual laceration.
Wait,
What's
so
up,
he's making physical contact with me?
Yes.
Yeah, he's gonna get affected by the Devourer's skin.
Sounds good.
So it needs to make a reflex save.
Sure. Both of them are making physical contact, by the way. Did you say it needs to make a fortitude save?
Reflex.
Reflex. Hey, they're both the same.
It's getting pretty fucking spooky in here, damn.
Mom and Pop, 11 and 19.
Mom will take 3 points of acid damage.
Alrighty. So, as the mom goes to slice, you all witness as this light seems to collect. The scrape flashes, and as the claw pulls back and it seems to stare at its own hand, it is now disintegrating from the light that is eating away at it. And at this point, the mother skeleton collapses into a pile of bones.
Oh.
However, you do still suffer 6 points of damage, and it will go back to our party's turn. Who wants to take the first go around at killing Pop?
I will.
You said okay.
Anybody else?
Tim Tom is going
So-
to blast him again.
So it's on, like it's actually on me, right,
Yeah,
Levi?
no, it is on you.
Okay, I'm gonna just like I'm going to smash it into the ground. Like I'm going to we're going skeleton wrestling.
Give me your
Oh,
attack
God.
roll, and I'll describe the events that happen.
Cool. Yeah, cool.
So as you try to like shrug this thing off, this skeleton is very much firmly attached to you. And the only thing that seems to make it stumble or stutter a bit is Yarich and Centurion's attacks that just seem to impact it. So the both of you give me damage. Through a combined arm strength, you manage to wrench the skeleton off with lasers and projectile shots. However, it still looks healthy. For being dead, that is. As you all continue to weather blow upon blow against it, kind of realizing that it's a bit hard to fight something that isn't alive, it is going to attempt to slice into Carthan again. An 8. It goes to simply claw him open, but just kind of scrapes against it. Does he need to make another fortitude save?
It is only first time.
I see.
Yeah, Karth is going to retort by trying to slam the Kanabo into the side of its skull.
Alrighty, give me your attack. A 23 absolutely hits, roll damage. As this thing is crushed into the floor, it has that much HP remaining. It seems to have its legs fractured and broken as it is now lying down on the deck of the floor with a Kanobo pinning it to the surface of the cold metal. The rest of you can feel free to try and attack it while it's momentarily disabled.
Yarich
Sure, Tim Tom
Yeah,
will just point blank him in the face with a scatter gun.
Just smack.
Like pinning a snake down with a metal hook.
Rush.
I'm gonna hold my
Skulls.
fire
I'll go
because
ahead
I
and
think
do
this is gonna
damage
get
for
killed.
mine.
Yeah, I imagine all of you kind of combined arms, the hunting rifle, the laser rifle, the battle staff. There's a crunch, several shots, and this thing's like limbs, its arms, its legs are either simultaneously crushed or evaporated by projectile or laser fire. And it is no longer moving.
Nice.
Alright, I'm gonna look around and make sure that no other skeletons are coming to life.
All of the other skeletons seem to be stock still for the moment.
That was absolutely terrifying.
I'm gonna examine that heirloom that I pulled from the child's neck.
Yep, you pull it from the child, and go ahead and pocket it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna look around and see if there's any other little bits of loot on these skeletons.
Yarich is going
Pocket them.
put his hand on Baku and stop him. Do you really want more skeletons to start fighting?
Well, if we kill all of them, I'm just kidding.
We'll be fine.
Oh,
I don't particularly believe in signs or anything, but I mean, hint, hint.
Yarich is going to stand in front of Baku and say this. If you choose to go down this path, I will not stop you, but I will not help you.
I'm going down this path.
You're gonna
Alright.
reach over and start pulling the gold tooth filling out of another skeleton.
Yes.
He says
Excellent.
this as he's hunched over a fucking skeleton pulling off his
Yarich
pearl
is going
necklace.
to get away from the skeleton and continue moving on.
So,
It's fine.
as you rip it from this thing's like socket, you all prepare to make way, having collected that heirloom and the golden tooth filling, and you're going to make your way into the next section.
Nice.
Assuming there's
Yeah.
nothing in here our employer would find of interest.
Right.
Looks like there is nothing but old bones and salvageable technology for the machine, anyway.
And irritable skeletons.
Well, as long as the machine is doing its job, that's all I care about.
Right. So you want to, you actually have a choice here. Do you want to go northward or southward?
I guess we can go north.
Yeah, I don't have
Yeah,
any,
sure,
any
why not?
objections.
Alrighty.
Can we hear the grinding noise of the fucking salvage drone just ripping away?
Are you letting it salvage while you're inside?
Isn't that
I
why
didn't
we're
think that-
here?
Alright, I'll keep that in mind.
Wait, what?
I wasn't thinking it was gonna be a smart idea to do that. I said I parked it away from it.
Yeah, he did say that he parked the salvage drone away from this machinery while you guys are scoping it out.
Because if it was salvaging and we were deeper in here, I didn't want someone come by it without us knowing and destroy it.
I mean,
What?
Makes a valid point.
I never really thought about how fucking disastrous it'd be to, be in here while that's actively tearing the ship apart.
Yeah. If you want me to, I'll man this thing, and if anything comes out...
Oh, no, it's fine.
I'll...
It's fine.
Alright.
No,
alright.
it's fine. It's fine. We're good. We're good.
It's just-
no need to worry.
Okay.
Clear this thing out before we start salvaging.
Alright.
So, you all continue to explore this northward section, and as you go up from the servants' quarters and find the door that would open, it's to the left because you entered through the door on the right. Keep in mind that you just came from the northward entrance, but there's another section to explore. As you approach this closed door, you start hearing a strange noise. It just sounds like a simple and it is repeating. It is soft enough to where you couldn't hear it whenever you were basically wandering around and exploring and pulling the teeth from these skeletons.
Okay. Is there any way that maybe we could... let me think about this. I guess we're not going to know what this thing is until we actually open the door, huh?
Yarich is going to see if there's a way to quietly open the door without noticing.
Give me a stealth check.
Alright.
Stealth.
I guess
I have a good stealth.
I will roll to assist since it's not my thing if I can.
I am a stealthy boy.
I will roll to assist as well.
I'm not proficient in stuff.
I really shouldn't
That's
even.
no.
I really shouldn't even fucking bother.
You all creak this door open, and with a majority success, you gently leave a crack where you can see what is on the other side of the door, and you find what appears to be a room that is directly bordered by a skeleton that is just kind of like tapping the door every once in a while. And behind him, there are about 30 to 40 skeletons all clustered and cramped, basically walking around.
Oh.
Closing
Please.
the door,
Shut the door, shut the door, shut the door.
Can we lock it somehow?
Skeletons.
So you just want to close this door?
Yes.
Slowly closes the
We're
door.
not going in the skeleton closet. Fuck that.
The skeleton closet. Wow. I hate that.
I think we just found another I think we just found a fucking name for the episode.
You get a sense.
Skeletons in the closet.
You get a sense that peering into that section was probably another servant compartment. This one even more cramped. For some reason, it looks like all of them were animated and just kind of drifting around.
Yeah, no. No, we can leave that room. It's fine where
Yeah.
it is.
We're
I
going
am
to
I am
find
okay
different
with
room.
not touching that fucking room.
Yarich is going to grab a little marker pen, put an X on the door, and move on.
I'm gonna get a fucking Sharpie and write "Don't open, dead inside."
Skeletons.
Sharpie. Good lord.
Actually, it'd be a spray paint can, and I'd write it in a way that makes it look like it's more like "Don't dead open inside."
Oh, Christ. So, you all leave this section and proceed southward, I assume.
Yes.
You head into what appears to be the engineering compartment for this craft, which you notice is all burned out. There is machinery everywhere and what appears to have been a long, dormant reactor core that has been shut down for, the better part of a century and a half. That being said, though, you do notice a stairwell in the center of this engineering section. It looks like it went further up.
Yari's antenna is going to twitch wildly. His proboscis is going to pop out of his little covering,
I didn't need to hear that.
and he's going to look at this wildly eyed.
He lustfully looks at it.
I wish both of you could just go to timeout, honestly.
Arthur's going to scan the room for any more animated skeletons, given that we have found the mother lode of them.
Scanning for
Yeah,
skeletons. Yeah, let's scan for skeletons.
You look around and you find a few corpses kind of almost, they look like they've been fused to the consoles with what little bits of dried, burnt flesh that remains. They're just kind of stuck where they are.
Yari just going
Like
to examine
used
this.
burn victim style.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe don't touch the reactor.
Yari just going to examine the reactor, see how much it would take to safely get online.
Give me an engineering check.
You just see Tim Tom stand up behind him. He's like, "Hey, do me a favor. Don't blow the ship up with us
So,
inside of it, please."
you figure out something horrifying.
Okay.
Throughout all of these records, it looks like something terrible happened in this particular section of the ship. And now that you're traipsing through it, you can't help but notice the fact that the people are fused to their terminals and the overall building just looks charred. You go ahead and study the reactor, and you figure out that there are several breaches in its containment where it looks like the fusion effect managed to leak its subsequent heat into this chamber. So it flash fried everyone inside of here and like melted them to the places that they were currently occupying.
So, would I be able to identify how this fracture happened, or would this be something later?
I would say that that'd have to be a higher check, but
Fair
if you
enough.
wanted to spend even more time here until eventually you get the right roll.
No, we're on a mission. We're
That
not gonna
being
wait.
said, you all want to take a look around?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking
Yeah,
if
sure.
this is a control room of some kind, obviously this could be a potential treasure trove for technology if it's still in one piece.
It's probably melted together and unusable.
Can we roll
Maybe we
perception?
can find something though.
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody is
Last
the
time I
leader,
found-
everybody else is assistants.
I
Looks
will.
like-
Well, I guess Vaku's going to be the leader then.
You all just wait for the first roll before determining this.
I
Oh
will
yeah.
also assist after checking.
I mean, it literally benefits us for me to be assisting anyways. So
So, you all scan about this compartment until eventually, after maybe about 10 or 20 minutes of searching through these corpses, searching through these terminals, you eventually find an intact cabinet that appears to have what looks to be a very nice set of engineering tools inside of them.
Ooh, mine.
not even gonna ask. Just say mine, and then it's gone. We all fucking got here, dude.
Yeah.
And we're gonna give them to you. Just like
Nope.
it's not like this is just a foregone conclusion. Be a team player.
Fair enough.
And
Yeah,
need I
he's just
remind
going
you, we
low.
aren't here for ourselves either.
Right.
True.
Anyways, if we can't carry them right now, just make sure we take note of the location and get them whenever we get on the way out to go turn on the salvage bot.
Yeah,
Obviously,
just
we
going to
should.
put it into his second suit, into his second skin compartment, seeing as it can hold one load.
Yeah. From here, Cartha's gonna go up the stairs.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
I'm gonna move on to the next room then.
Yeah,
I'll
with
join.
Karth taking the lead, I will say, go ahead and give me a perception check, Karth.
Can do.
You notice that this news section that you have entered appears to be the sleeping quarters of the actual soldiers themselves. Some of them, it almost looks as if they had left that bulkhead open, and the flash frying had incinerated anybody that was off-shipped and trying to sleep. But for the most part, it is empty. That being said, there is a final door up ahead, which almost appears to have a
Can I
definite
quickly check his
prestige.
room?
What do you think I'm making him do?
Oh, never mind. Oh shit, I'm a dumbass.
This
Yeah.
door up ahead seems to have a prestige to it, almost as if it were the captain's quarters. You take a quick look around here, and aside from the flash-fried corpses, unless you wanted to take some like crisp flesh home with you, there's nothing much of important here.
Yeah, yeah. Karth will continue on to the door and kind of motion it over so that he can work it open slowly.
So, you creep this thing open and find that on the other side, in the midst of this rather spacious set of captain's quarters, there appears to be a singular skeleton that is rifling through what appears to be a pile of junk.
So it's
Actively?
Yes.
it seems to be intelligent.
Do you want to continue to watch it?
Uh, I'm gonna look back to the group for their insight. You know,
As you look
kinda-
back to me, I'm just gonna kind of put my fingers in my chin, almost as if like a, I don't know, what it's doing.
Let's
The
have
skeleton.
our weapons trained on it, but if it doesn't attack us, let's not attack it.
So, you all are just going to watch this thing for a good second or two?
Yeah, searching
Yeah.
kind of indicates that he might be doing something more than just standing around and bumping into stuff. I'm interested in seeing what he's doing.
So as he stands up, and you can tell this is a male skeleton based on like the posture and the bone structure. It looks almost as if he is covered in torn, like damaged rags, pitch black from soot and charred at the ends. He eventually holds up to what little light leaks in through a small roof in the ceiling, and you see what appears to be a power cell. And he pulls something out from underneath his cloak and simply inserts it into the slot. And you witness a small computer flash to life in his hands. There's almost a exclamation of surprise before he goes to tap on the screen and is disappointed that it's not registering his touch, his tactile sensation.
Yarich is going to lean over. Do you think we could reason with it?
He seems to be very lucid and aware, but he's gonna probably see us as intruders here. I don't know if he was one of the crew members or if he's a salvager. Either way, we're somebody that's we're an outsider to him, and I doubt he's gonna very much want us here. We do outnumber him though, so we could just go talk to him.
Hey,
Let's try to
447.
talk.
Yeah.
You think
Alright.
it might be a good idea to, like, prepare a couple grenades?
Preparing a grenade means pulling the pin on it. You know how little time it takes me to get one of those things ready?
Oh,
So as you guys deliberate on this, I'm gonna put my pistol back into my coat.
And Yarich is going to do the same with his rifle, holding his all four arms up where the skeletal can see it.
So he obviously can't see any of us. I'm just going to, as I put my pistol away, I'm just gonna like look back and to everyone else and say, "Don't let him know you're here, unless he does something violent." I'm gonna walk towards, and I'm gonna just make myself known.
So as you go ahead and push this shuttering door to the side, this thing whips around to see you.
As he does, I'm gonna kind of raise both of my hands in the air in a gesture of relax. I'm not reaching for anything. I'm not here to attack you.
Yeah, you see Char fling off of the rags almost as if he hasn't made a sudden movement like that in who knows how long. And you just both stand there silently watching each other.
I will go ahead and then break the silence and ask, "Are you one of the ones that went down with this ship?" If you don't mind my asking, that is.
Does not seem to respond.
You got a name?
He kind of takes one of his fingers and points up to his own skull.
You can't.
You can't speak then. Well, I'm Orion, because apparently you can hear me. I am going. Do I have? I wish I could say that I have pen and paper on me for the purpose of just making this go by faster, but I'm just gonna like put my hands down to my side and go, well. Fuck Christ! How do I communicate with somebody that can't fucking talk?
So, he kind of holds up the data pad in his hand and goes to tap the screen, which you see is flickering, and you can tell that he is kind of upset that that tactile sensation is not working for him.
Do I have like a pair of leather gloves on me or something from the travel?
Would leather gloves even work for that tactile sensation?
I mean, gloves exist that, you know, are usable with touchscreens. I mean...
Did you by chance pack something like that in your kit then? I mean, you are a detective. Would your own gloves not work?
I mean, they probably would. I'd probably imagine that part of my kit would be like maybe a pair of latex gloves, and something like that might work with a screen.
Fair enough. So do you want to take
Yeah.
off your own shit?
I'm gonna
and give it
take
to
off
him?
one of my gloves. I'm gonna actually hold up my hands and go left or right hand and wait for him to point to one of his appendages.
He seems to tilt his head for a second.
When he does that, if he doesn't give me a good answer, I will just assume it's his right and then throw him my right glove.
So he tries to put on the glove and it does not fit it because his hand is skeletal. But he slips it on and tries to touch one of the symbols, and it seems to register a bit of feedback, and it puts up a symbol which you do not recognize. He clicks a few more and it forms a string of letters that you aren't quite able to make sense of.
Well, as he does this, I'm gonna look at it, kind of scratching my chin, and I'm gonna go, well, unfortunately, I can't read that. I might know some people that do, though. I'm here with some friends. Are you okay with me bringing them in?
He takes a simple step back, not really sure what's going on.
Alright, well, regardless, I think we should just go ahead and make ourselves known, and I'm gonna look at the door and kind of beckon if anybody's actually watching this
Yari's just
interaction.
going to gently walk in, all four hands in the air, and he's going to see if he can pull out his own tablet to start communicating and translating.
Any of you know any exotic languages?
Would Karth from his study of history?
Do you have any ranks in culture?
I do not, sadly.
Then unfortunately you would only know your basic languages.
I have
So the
ranks.
one
Could
from your
I-
civilization.
So, does ranks and culture give you extra languages?
Yes.
Oh, really? I actually might be able to fucking hear him then, because I have like 4 ranks in culture.
I have
Well,
three
you'd have
ranks
to
in
you'd have to
culture.
decide what languages you would speak.
Okay.
Well, what languages are most common in the setting?
So the most common languages in this setting would technically be Common for the general syndicates, Sylvan for the Hollowed Core. Draconic is also a common language in a specific subsector. And then I would probably say this language would not be something that commoners would
Yeah.
know.
I don't see a good in-character reason for my character knowing anything other than what he could find on the Syndicate homeworld for the purposes of doing his job. If this is some type of esoteric language that would be pursued by scholars, I doubt that Orion would care about it.
I will say that you can keep an open slot and perhaps learn it in the future.
Okay.
Could Yari use computers to translate it?
Seems cheap, but go ahead. 25. You attempt to basically put your computer to task and see if you can't translate what the symbols for this essentially translate into. And it doesn't register it as a word, but it does register it as a language, that being a necrol.
Necro?
It seems to understand that the symbols being used here are for the language of the dead, more specifically, the language of the Tenebrous Imperium.
Huh. It's odd. He can speak. He can obviously understand us. Well, at least it seems he can understand us, but he writes in an entirely different language.
Yeah, he is simply just kind of watching.
Well, I mean, quite frankly, I don't really know the best way that we should go about to continue this interaction. So, as he stands there watching us, I'm just going to ask, how much do you fully understand what I'm saying? I'm trying to see if he's been actually understanding me this entire time, or if he's just been guessing my intention based off of body language and context.
Yeah, he just kind of tilts his head.
I guess you don't. Well, regardless. Once again, I don't have the means to communicate with him. I would honestly just leave him to his work. If we can't talk to him, if he's not attacking us, I'm not gonna start hostilities out of nowhere.
Yarich agrees. He's going. As much as he wants to help this person, he doesn't know enough about the necro language to even begin.
We should probably find a way to tell him that this ship might be ripped apart by a salvaging machine here pretty soon, so he doesn't become salvage himself.
Do we just like tell him that?
Well, how could we? Gonna start doing some weird
Yarich
sign language ritual?
Yarich is going to begin using his pad to draw images of what's coming.
Oh God.
Including the war that's going to be coming and destroying everything in this area.
So the twin flecks of light that seem to represent a pupil almost seem to, like, gloss over what you are, like, showing him in terms of crudely drawn images. And they seem to focus back up on you. And he's just kind of standing there menacingly.
Well, I guess he didn't quite understand the full context of that either.
Can I give a sense motive check to see if his, like, demeanor has just suddenly turned slightly hostile?
You can give me a sense motive check. You get a sense that this person has not seen anybody in a long time, and is simply marveling in the fact that he is witnessing a living individual in front of him.
Well, and if that's the case, I'm going to try to do my best through sign language to ask him. What the fuck should we ask him?
Charades.
Yeah, this is what this is going to turn into, unless we just want to say fuck it and ignore him, which I feel like that's not the right answer either. I'm going to do my best just to signal through charades that me and everyone else is going to be leaving, and we will leave him to his work.
Yeah, give me a diplomacy check. A 15.
My rolls are fucking dog shit.
Yeah, you mimic this, and then turn to go, and as you start leaving this chamber, he is following you now.
I mean, I could roll diplomacy.
I'm gonna look at him, cock my head, and go, you know what? If he wants to leave with us, fine. It's either that or he gets mulched by the salvager, so fuck it. He can head out with us. I'm open-minded. I've met fucking undead and vampires and all this crazy shit. If this skelly man wants to tag along, fuck it. It's not the weirdest company I keep.
Honestly, yeah. He's cool. He's friendly.
Whilst we're walking,
We say that now.
whilst we're walking, Tim Tom is just like occasionally peering over him, trying to figure out what killed him. How is a walking skelly man possible? Because that goes against all fucking logic of science.
As you are doing so, he is going to approach you and try to take your medkit off of your belt.
What the fuck?
Uh,
You know what? if he manages to fix whatever the fuck's wrong with him, I'll be very impressed. Maybe maybe let him borrow some supplies. I'm curious as what a skeleton could do with a fucking wrap of gauze and some band-aids.
And
Yeah.
Tom opens it up.
He seems to be picking around through it, using his finger to kind of indicate certain things, until he eventually reaches a handheld medical scanner and pulls it out and begins looking at it. He goes to scan his hand, and the results show, like, inconclusive. And he just kind of looks at you, and then puts the device back up and clicks this case back into a locked position.
Slowly
I wonder how
puts
much
it-
he understood of what he just had. Maybe he's trying to tell you something.
Slowly puts his medical kit back on his belt with this look of, what the fuck?
So Yari's just going to go back to the miner, the scrapper. He's going to grab his special little ball, and he's going to drag it all the way back to the core.
So, as all of you guys are heading back into this reactor chamber with your new strange companion, what do you all wish to do?
Yari,
I mean, kind of the same thing as before, just making sure that we're keeping an eye out for any type of delicate electronics that we don't want to get mulched to pull out of here.
So,
Right,
what
right.
happens if we
Yari
continue
just
on
going
where all the
this-
zombies were? What happens if we start fighting them? Do you think he's going to get really upset of us?
The things that we fought so far seem to be quite mindless. Honestly, I don't think they would treat him all that much more favorably if they catch that he's an outsider, which I still don't actually know that for sure. So I'm talking out of my ass right now, by the way.
Yari is going to activate his little mini scrapper drone to take apart this core nice and gently.
Yeah, it's going to go over towards the side of this reactor casing and begin ripping it to shreds. That being said, though, as the drone is having fun, you all seem to be just kind of stuck here for the time being, exploring and poking around.
Yari is also going to begin looking for the black box in this area.
Alright, give me a perception check.
I will give you some assistance.
I have absolutely
I'll
no
assist, too.
perception.
I don't think I've rolled over a 10 on anything
Where the
tonight.
fuck is it? There it is.
So with a total of a 21, you begin scouring this section looking for wherever this particular piece could be. And in this control center and evidently engineering station hybrid, eventually you come to a dead end. Until the strange companion that is now following you, watching your every movement as you are picking through everything, goes to a center console and seems to sit down for a second. He kind of puts a finger up to his chin as if he were pondering something, and then gets back up and seemingly almost half jogs to the other side of the room. Underneath what appears to have been a hidden section, a like false panel, he pulls it up and removes what almost looks like a black cube, and you can hear the sound of like electronics disconnecting from the rest of the ship as he runs over towards you and holds out this strange black cube.
Yari's just going to bounce up and down the little bit, just happy. Thank you, thank you. He's going to attach it to his little his
His toolkit,
yes, and
his specialized thing.
Yes,
So
and
you are going to go ahead and connect this to a foreign computer system and find that it is locked, but it does register seemingly as a data archive.
all right. This I will unlock this once we start leaving this area, because this is going to take some time to actually sit down and unlock.
So are you all going to begin leaving?
Once the bot has taken maybe 2 hours to scrap some of the core and get some of its more delicate parts out.
I imagine that that test goes along fairly uneventfully. That being said, it does waste a good 2
Two
hours
charges.
of battery.
Yes.
So now it would have 8, unless I'm mistaken.
Yes, that's correct. I've been keeping track.
So, as you all begin to leave this section, heading outside of the starship, having collected and plundered some loot, you're going to take along that planar spacesuit and the goggles and the jewelry and the tooth and the engineering tools.
Yes.
You leave and activate the salvage drone, and as soon as he witnesses that there is a hole leading outside of the starship, he breaks from the party and seems to marvel out in the sunlight before he starts walking away.
Yep.
Skeleton
I
man.
guess I'd say that's a fairly good indicator that he's been trapped in here this entire time. Well, fine.
Well, I
He
hope
wants to
that
go his
guy
own.
finds peace.
Wish him the
Yari
best
just
in his
gonna
new
wait.
life.
As he begins wandering away, I'm going to stand there at the hole that he left out of and just watch him.
Yeah. Yeah, Kartha's gonna be there with Orion, just kind of marveling.
As he's growing further and further into the distance, at about like the halfway point of him leaving your like sphere of vision, he turns around and stares back at the wreckage and the party that now perhaps look like ants, and then turns over and continues
And
walking.
then a giant bird comes up, plucks him off, and carries him off into the ether. Got it.
Well, as he leaves, I'm just going to go, well, nice lad. I hope he does well. I doubt it,
Alright.
but, oh well.
Your
So,
Reach, do you think
Yari
there's
is
any
going-
chance you can make a copy of that black box data? Or employer might like it too.
That's what I was thinking. I'm going to get onto that right away once I start up this machine.
Is it weird that that's arguably the nicest skeleton I've ever met?
That's the only skeleton I've ever met. Outside
That
of...
too. I mean, I've seen skeletons on dissection tables, but they didn't. That's weird.
Eh.
I
yeah.
cross my arms and look around. I'm a little surprised we didn't encounter more resistance. I was led to believe there'd be an active Tenebrous Imperium presence here.
Well,
Yeah, that is a bit strange.
well, there's still a lot of skeletons in there. I imagine
Yeah, but
once
we're not
that,
talking about the skeletons. We had good reason to believe that there were other forces
Gaulis
guarding the
specifically
site.
told us to expect forward-facing combat. All we found were a bunch of straggling skeletons that didn't pose anything resembling a threat.
As soon as he says like that, something in Tim Tom's mind doesn't. Tim Tom's going to start immediately looking around for potential means of an ambush, like potential means of us might be getting ambushed.
You're gonna start sifting through.
Yeah, like just looking around, like looking like.
So while
With that
Tim
information,
Tom
like
is
things don't seem right. So
while Tim Tom is searching for an ambush, go ahead and give me a computers check. This would be
Arr.
Bot that is trying to make a copy of this data core.
Come on. Should I use my once day reroll for the...
I mean, I don't know.
I can give you an
21's
assist.
21's not a bad roll.
I'm off doing something.
This is a high advanced
Oh,
technology,
well,
though.
then turning that into a 24 probably wouldn't change anything, huh?
Yeah, that's my thoughts. I'm going to use my memory module once. Because at this point, I don't feel like it's going... I'm going to just waste it otherwise, so... Come on.
Wow.
Shit.
As
That
you
is
go,
unfortunate.
As you go to access this, it seems to have some kind of like connection, or at least registers to Syndicate technology, almost as if it was designed to be accessible by anyone. You realize that this thing will only allow you to read its contents, not copy, erase, or alter it. That being said, though, it does seem to store a lot of information, so you will have to specify your topic.
Alright. Alright, so... So I'm going to first look up the gate that our elven friend was talking about.
When you specifically search for those terms, the Maelstrom Gate, you find a variety of branches of like operation, including how to basically access it, the current security codes for the Maelstrom Gate, as well as its current location, meaning that it moves, as well as the last recorded 150 years ago security positions around that site.
All right. With
Which
that,
it does detail that there are several large fleets keeping the Maelstrom Gate defended, at least 150 years ago.
With that, I'm going to manually type out the information onto my tablet. Then I'm going to type out the information about the last crash report.
So, as you manually specify that entry, it seems to indicate several records and damage reports that you piece together, eventually figuring out that this vessel was basically coming in for a secretive landing on Zavoth 3 before it was shot down by ground emplacements. It crashed up into the mountaintops and has not been touched since.
Right. So, reactor blueprints.
Well, there is a large spectrum of data over how a reactor is constructed, so much so that it would take you perhaps days to manually type it out into your other computer.
Could I possibly program my computer to scan the text of this computer?
I will allow you to take one more computer's check.
Which is kind of a good idea.
A 17. So with that, sensing that you are attempt to program essentially a way to override its anti-copying
No.
procedure.
I'm
What?
not going to actually program it into the computer, but use my basically cameras onto my other computer to scan the.
You know how
like
a lot
said,
of smartphones nowadays have like you can take a picture of like a fucking piece of paper and it'll write out what's written.
like I said, sensing that it is about to have its data copied, this thing locks you out. It was specifically designed to not allow individuals to copy the data. More specifically, you had failed the computer's check to allow it to be copied or erased or altered. That being said, you now have a dormant data core.
Well, I suppose we've done what we can for it right now. How much more do we want to search around before we let the drone do its thing?
The drone's already doing its thing at this point.
Oh.
I imagine this thing is now tearing apart the side of this starship.
I also did take the parts that we got from the reactor core into here with us to directly put them into our machine.
I imagine as you all are witnessing this and it's beginning to breach into new compartments, eventually it hits the section with like 40 to 30 skeletons and you start seeing bone flying everywhere.
Jesus
Well,
Christ.
Not exactly a peaceful death, but at least they're being put to rest.
Yeah,
Something-
Carth's
something
gonna keep
silver
his weapon
linings.
raised.
Scattering and raining skeletons everywhere.
Yeah, Carth is gonna keep his weapon on hand.
Fucking
Fair.
rain.
Yarich is going to say his rifle.
I imagine as Yarich is studying his rifle, like a femur hits him in the head. That being said, after basically spending this night trying to dismantle the radiator again and form a small temporary campsite, you all manage to salvage this ship to the extent that this drone can take. Are you going to begin heading back home by the next day?
Yes, we're going
Yeah.
straight home.
Yep.
No
And
detours. No
Cartha's
stops
gonna
for rest.
mark these coordinates on his data pad.
Fair. So, as you all begin the multi-day process of going home, the days pass, well, without any particular incident, maybe an animal spooking
Maddie's
one
gonna
of you
be-
in the woods. That being said, you make it pretty much halfway through your journey back into the forests, leaving the snow-capped peaks behind. And eventually, on one of your days back, coming out during one of your periods of darkness and watch, Golly seems to melt away from the forest and walk right into your campsite.
Yari just going to get the black box and hand it over.
He simply kind of holds out his hand and accepts the small data core without any complaints. I am sorry, but I have lied to you to some extent. You surely notice there is not much of a military presence there.
I was about to bring that up.
There is a pact between my people and theirs that we are not allowed to directly interfere in one's matters, even such as ruins. But this information is valuable to my people, and I wanted a means to gather this information without breaking our treaties.
Seems
So,
like a pretty
what
dumb
kind of-
thing to lie about.
He holds up the data core just kind of over into the light, seemingly admiring it for a second. I have very roundabout means of accomplishing my goals, but they are all for my sake as well as yours. I'm sure you found plenty of nice treats there.
I cross my arms. I don't.
Yari just going to take out the goggles he had found.
He seemingly nods in kind of agreement.
Hold on. Since we didn't explicitly say we were going to go back to get that suit, do we not get it?
We did get this.
You did. You salvaged the suit.
Okay.
It's currently folded up in a pile somewhere.
Oh god.
Misleading information or not, what I want to know is, do you have a run-in with those snipers?
I misled them, yes.
Meaning,
Meaning I gave them a nasty surprise one night while they were attempting to camp.
casualties?
Not quite. I'm very good at what I do.
My point is, are we going to be hearing from them again?
Maybe in the future, but not right now.
Assuring.
Did you get information on the terraformer?
Information on the what?
Terraformer.
Right. Well, it has only been a few days, and the terraformer is quite a jog from here. So I would say no.
Okay.
Any other interesting questions before I melt into the night?
I will state I was trying to copy some of that data and it locked me out.
Should be fine.
Understood.
It still
I just
seems
want
like
to
a
be
rather
fully aware.
dumb- Still seems like a rather dumb reason to lie to us.
Dumb to you, maybe.
I don't think I appreciate that.
Well, deceived or not, we both had our business resolved, so I thank you. Even if you don't appreciate it.
We
just
got some cool
appreciate being
things.
lied to.
Whatever. We're all alive and we're richer to boot for it.
He kind of snaps his fingers and says, "Maybe I'll see all of you again soon." And he walks off into the forest.
With any luck? No.
Our job is a difficult one.
So, you all are going to continue on your way then?
Yeah.
Yes.
Days and nights pass like nothing until you're fairly certain that you've been on this journey now for about a week, and you've expended almost all of those rations.
Uh, Yeah, there's 7 of us, so it would take all
We've
the...
probably burned through
Half of them at least.
a fucking quantity.
Only 6 of us
There's
need to eat.
15 filled rations that last a week each.
The Fiesta pails are now empty.
Yes,
we-
fails.
So there's 7 of us, correct?
6 that need to eat.
6 that needs to eat. So that would be...
You'd leave you at
9.
9.
Yeah.
Stuff is absolutely tasteless.
So
No, the problem is they do have a taste. The
They
taste
do
is just
taste.
death.
is not good. That being said, as you reach the end of your journey, the salvage drone, much heavier than it was when it departed, arrives into this station. The vault doors grind open and the salvage drone sits down on the base, and there are like warning lights that tell you basically do not stand here as the lift departs. And in this sort of entrance zone, the lift takes this thing out of sight. It's a couple of minutes before the lift comes back.
Let's not forget about Doomtread, too.
That is definitely a concern, so you guys are going to go ahead and sequester Doomtread onto this lift as well, along with it, because it was the one that was carrying it.
Yeah.
So I will say that Doomtread disappeared with this salvage drone whenever it entered the facility.
Alright.
As it lifts and locks back into place, you all are allowed to enter this chamber and proceed further into the vault.
Yari's just going to brace himself for yelling.
Yeah, as the door grinds to a close behind you and leaves you in darkness, and you continue to walk forward until you reach that one spotlight that is overhanging a workshop table. There is still the red-robed figure, just kind of head hung low, currently working on what appears to be a belt-like piece of equipment.
Hello, mister. We're back.
He seems to take a deep breath in this. I take it you had better plans for my salvage vehicle.
Oh yeah, he's pissed.
We still did the mission that was asked of us, but there was another wreckage not too far ahead. Figured you might
What
have
kind of wreckage?
Tenebrous Imperium.
Was it worth the detour?
I
It
don't
had
know.
much more intact stuff, like a actual reactor.
He seems to bristle for a second, almost like preparing to get very angry. Give me a moment. And he scuttles away, leaving you all alone.
I don't think he's happy.
The
Eh,
fact of
fuck
the
him, he's
matter
not
is he was
happy.
going to be pissed one way or the other. If we just left there without scavenging that ruins before the inevitable conflict breaks out, he wouldn't have been happy about that. This was a no-win situation.
About an hour or so of you just chilling out and finding places to rest. There's not much for comfort here.
Yari just going to sit down, use the light of his pad to take a better look at the goggles.
Give me an engineering check then. So, you go ahead and take a good look at these, and you figure out that these are essentially like magnifying goggles, and they let you add a +2 insight bonus to any skill check that involves like exceedingly close vision.
Ooh,
So,
Neat.
delicate engineering work. I will add that to your inventory.
nice.
Cartha's gonna pull out the heirloom and kind of study it.
Do you have any skill check you want to make to try and determine its value?
Sure. What skill would you want?
Let me take a look at your skills.
Seems like appraise isn't a skill in this game anymore.
This is true, but I will say that a culture check would suffice.
Untrained.
Unfortunate. You
I
would
can
not
take
be
a
able
look
to
at it
identify
for you
the
if you would
worth.
like.
Yeah, Cartha's gonna kind of hold this up and I guess hand it over to Orion.
And I'll turn it over my hands and give it a quick look and see what this is worth.
Based on the materials that it's made out of, which appear to be a nice refined silver, you get a sense that to a collector or like a pawn shop, you might be able to pass this off for 250 credits.
I will relay that information.
And Garth will just kind of put it back in his bag, with a nod as to the value. Absolutely worth punching a skeleton child in the face.
Great.
Nice. And how much were the bits of jewelry that I managed to salvage?
I will say that if you want to take together your little like gold teeth fillings and small trinkets and bring that to Ankos, I will allow you to do a separate culture check to determine the wealth of this pile of goods.
Okay. Let's see here.
26. There's a few good pieces in what otherwise might be a bit of an interesting semblance of just a random shit. And you get a feeling that, like, coming to complete Carthan's, like, heirloom would bring the total accumulated jewelry value up to 500 credits, including the heirloom. So all of the jewelry together is about 500 credits.
Not bad.
That being said, any of you want to take a look at the spacesuit?
Yeah, I guess I'll take a look at that too.
Sure. Why not?
Tom's
Yeah.
playing games on his fucking phone.
It.
Okay.
13.
I missed out on my copy of Spacesuits Monthly.
Yeah, you don't know that much about
I got-
spacesuits.
I got one. Yeah.
Baku. So you take a good look at this, and based on your people's like nomadic culture, planar travel is something of like a legend, and finding a suit that is built for that is rare at the very least. It kind of strikes you now that the Tenebris Imperium does have a lot of its like capital planets inside of the plane of shadow. So to get an item like this planar spacesuit is quite a treat, considering that it is worth 2,750 credits.
Damn.
Who wants to hold on to that spacesuit?
Fucking.
Honestly, this might be something we lend to our investors for this moment.
Yeah, maybe as a I'm sorry gift in case the salvage doesn't do it for him.
There's nothing to be sorry about. We may have gotten here somewhat late, but we still did our job.
And
Yeah, that's a fair point. We did take a fairly expensive piece of his equipment, though, and run it off into the woods.
We did our job and we came back with more salvage than we could have hoped for. There's not going to be an I'm sorry gift. That thing's ours.
Eventually,
fair enough.
you hear the clicking of the cybernetics coming back to the central chamber. And as he reaches the side of it and continues, like, clicking on its way, he is not heading towards you, but you can hear him kind of shout over the pure silence of this chamber as all of the mechanisms stop. And he just kind of yells out, "All of you, come over here."
I go ahead and approach.
Yeah.
Same.
Continues clicking until he draws into a back chamber. Something that you hadn't realized until before, he has a personal dwelling here. It's not like he doesn't sleep at all. You will head
Tim Tom is
over
taken aback
through
by
this door
information.
and simply find yourself stunned as Galeta walks over towards one of his cabinets, which slides over with a quick motion of his hand, and he pulls out what almost appears to be a crystalline bottle and clinks over towards a small table that is very close to the rest of you. "I would offer something of better equivalent value, but you have gone above and beyond your station. That is priceless technology you have brought me." And he simply goes to shakily now uncork the crystalline bottle. I'm afraid I do not have that many glasses, so we will have to share.
I kind of raise a hand. I'm not a drinker anyway, with all due respect.
I insist. This is very aged alcohol. I'm sure you all could find some appreciation in that.
Would Tim
Yeah.
Tom have like? Oh, well, no. Tim Tom wouldn't have a mess kit. Never mind. Tim Tom will approach. Never miss an opportunity to turn down a drink.
So he goes
Yeah.
ahead and he pours you. There are like 3 simple cups here, not very nice, but he pours you what appears to be some kind of ancient alcohol, probably from the Beldor days, or whenever they were still on the planet.
Seeing him fill this cup, I kind of shift my weight to the other side of my body and cock my head a little. What'd you find in that wreckage that's so worth the celebration?
Do you recall what I said earlier about the hollowed court having technology above us?
Of course.
There are marvelous discoveries in this Imperium technology. New reinforcements to armor, advancements in our energy generation. This is a lot of things to go over.
Yarich is
Tim
going
Tom
to
takes
say,
a gentle
"There's,
sip.
but there's more."
He kind of cocks his head at you, and you see these cybernetic pits that are his eyes finally reveal themselves. This man does not have eyes. He has, like, pits which almost look like lasers.
Yarich is going to pull out his tablet and show off the data he copied.
The data you failed to copy, you mean?
His skeletal hands kind of click
The-
over, and he looks over what
the-
little information you have collected.
I was able to get this from the black box. I tried getting more, but it locked me out.
The ship had an intact black box?
Yes, but it was as information for of knowing the ship. We were to turn over the black box itself.
You see his head kind of sulk for a second, and he hands you the pad back.
It is unfortunate, but were it not for the cost of the black box, this wreckage never would have been found in the first place. So you win some, you lose some.
I tried copying it over directly, but like
It didn't
I said,
like that.
That is unfortunate.
I
But I have determined that your previous reward was not enough compensation for what you have brought me. Name your price.
Well, quite frankly, if you want to call us even with the gear that you've given us so far, that'd be more than fitting, in my opinion.
Done.
Well,
Anything else?
I kind of think about it for a moment. Well, I suppose canceling the debt on my armor is a
We
good
all-
idea.
We all individually owed thousands of credits. Having that
Good
off
for
of
me.
our
I did
backs
no
is,
shit to this man.
Oh, well, in that case, you'd need something else. But for those of us who have outstanding debts, quite frankly, not having
Well-
the burden of those 1,000 credits on me is, I'd consider
Yeah.
that fair.
Having the
I
outstanding debt
concur.
canceled is more than fair. I might be overextending myself when I ask this, but what about a new weapon?
You hear something internally clicking, and he seems to look over towards the other party members.
I am good for now.
I do not want to feel like I am, taking advantage of your grace here. I wouldn't mind a better pistol, don't get me wrong. I'd really like one, actually. But, I don't want to ask above my station. That's not...
I'm not-
I'm kind of the
I'm
same
not
way,
demanding a new weapon. I'm just saying it would be nice.
Is there any amongst you that wishes for something else?
Can you fix the big robot fella?
That's a good request.
That is a different topic of conversation. He has suffered extensive damage. Not even just the leg injury. There are many things about him that have been weathered away.
Besides, it seems like Galeta and Volknir have something of a history. I don't think he'd charge us to repair him.
I have plans for him. That being said, if you wish for an upgrade to your arms or armor, make it known.
I suppose I could get an upgrade to my suit.
That's what I want. My deck
I've just
canceled.
given you a recent suit. Wouldn't you much prefer another weapon?
I suppose I could use some upgrades to my armaments. All I really have on me is a laser pistol and a staff.
We will discuss this in a moment.
I nod my head. That's what I want. My debt's canceled and a new rifle.
Yes.
I've not seen you before. Any kind of...
That's canceled.
Slings his head over to Timothy.
Hi. I'm Dr. Timothy Thomas.
Don't bother with introductions. What do you want?
I'm with them. Objects of circumstance prevented me from meeting you in person, last time when you guys were, doing all the wheeling.
You're just going to look at them confused.
He seems to kind of let out a breath of hissing steam, as if he is just enraged by this thing's lack of getting to the point.
Tom, with all due respect, Galeta doesn't have all the time in the world.
Yeah,
what is that
I fizzled out of
mean?
existence and my essence was following around the companion, so I got to see everything you were doing, but I just kind of poofed back into existence on you.
It means he should probably get to the point.
Yes, the point, now!
What point are we trying to get to? Why am I here? Who am I?
What do you want for a reward?
Oh.
You helped us.
Better armor. Some, heavy armor. Because I do have... Wait, no, I'm sorry, not heavy armor. A long arm. A weapon. And, a new... injection long arm rifle.
Very well.
I was trying to see if I took the fucking heavy armor or if I took the long arm weapons proficiency, but I didn't, so
An upgrade to my laser rifle might be something to look towards.
Then I will begin working on your new arms as of right now. You all enjoy the fruits of your victory.
Yari's just going to take a shot glass of the expensive alcohol.
I hope this will be the beginning of a long and profitable partnership.
It will. Believe me, it will.
And that said, might you have any vehicles for sale?
What are you looking for?
Something that can transport a good 8 to 10
Kind
people.
of good.
A good 8 to 10 people transport capacity.
A troop carrier of reasonable amounts of reliability and ruggedness would be preferred.
We've been saving up some credits, and with this recent job having paid off, we figure we might have enough to buy a vehicle from you if you're selling.
I'll think about it. I do not part with my own technology. But I could make an exception.
We won't keep you.
Right, quite frankly, I just kind of like a warm bed and somewhere to sit down for a while.
That can be offered. This vault does contain a few rooms which I have been hiding from you. But you can feel free to use them for now.
By the way, is there any way I can charge my batteries? I'm starting to run low.
He extends out his hand.
Yari just going to give him the battery he's been using for his bot and his rifle. So I have... That will be two of my batteries, one with 8 charges and one with 6 charges in it.
Yeah, his hand curls in and kind of holds these two as he begins scuttling without turning, still facing all of you, through the empty doorway, disappearing into the darkness.
Unsettling.
I just figured
unsettling.
if we're not going to be able to get back into the city to close on that deal with with what was that guy's name? Drestel. Then
Drestel, yes.
if we're not going to be able to do that, then Galeta is probably our next best bet for getting proper transport.
Well, we've been out of the city for at least a little while now. I have to wonder how long it'll take before they really kind of calm the fuck down on the search.
We're wanted for treason.
Yeah, but you have to agree that once the initial fervor and frenzy wear off, it gets a lot
Unless
easier
we
for people
find a
like
way
us.
through that doesn't involve a checkpoint, there's no good way to get in. And even so, any public dealings we do, we're going to be recognized and ratted out.
With me being one of the main people working on the thing, I'm gonna be able to.
And let's say, by some stroke of luck, we do manage to get into the city, and Drestel does sell us that vehicle without turning us in, which Drestel's not a big fan of law enforcement, so maybe he would. How do we get out with that vehicle?
That's a good question.
I think perhaps buying something from Galeta is our best bet. And given that not all of us were in debt to him, I imagine there are those of us who are going to be paid in credits for this effort, and we can put that towards buying a vehicle. We still have a vehicle pot, 1,578 credits saved up.
You are correct.
I figure if we aren't too attached to that spacesuit either, we might be able to find a dealer and get it pawned off.
You hear the clicking approaching again. Eventually, Galeta enters in through the doorway and returns the battery is now fully charged. That being said, though, from his other hand, he sticks up a cred stick and then kind of like folds it out like a deck of cards to reveal that there are 7 cred sticks here.
Ooh.
Your compensation.
Putting 500 into my thing.
I will go ahead and take one of them as well.
So
Tyler said 500. Are these all
I
500
just
credits?
wanted my debt canceled and a rifle. I take it I'm not getting any credits?
If you wish for a personal equipment upgrade, then I would recommend you not take the cred sticks.
I would not. I would.
If that's the case, yeah, I will not.
I will refrain from taking mine then as well.
I
Because
will
think
refrain
have other
from the
things
credit for
Actually, wait, how much money do I have?
upgrade to my weapons.
Oh, I've got a few.
Does
Yeah.
anyone prefer cash?
I'll
Actually-
let him keep my creds as well because I did say I wanted some sort
Use
of
the restroom.
injection rifle.
Yeah, he
I will-
nods.
Seeing that everyone here is pretty much asking for custom order equipment, I'm just gonna take my credits then, because I don't want us to have to fucking go through 8 custom orders. That's gonna take too long. 7, sorry.
Do you still not want a better handgun?
It would be wasted on me. I'm not nearly good enough of a shot to make it count.
You should believe in yourself more.
Well, I believe in results, and the results have shown that I can't shoot for shit.
Very well. He hands the credits off to you. Add 500 to your account.
Roger.
Oh, and it is worth noting, we did run into that opposition you warned us about. It seemed like they weren't an organized faction of any kind, just some forest raiders. That said, very well-equipped forest raiders.
Yeah, that's some pretty badass anti-material rifles.
We managed to defend the convoy, but as you saw, it did sustain some damage. As far as we were aware, they're still out there. We managed to scare them off once they realized it wasn't going to be an easy fight.
He almost looks like he's just not paying attention to the information that you're feeding him in lieu of studying your current equipment.
Fair enough.
Hand me your rifle.
I go
And
ahead.
whatever that thing is on your waist.
I go ahead and hand him the hunting rifle, and the thing on my waist, I assume he's talking about the combat hammer.
Yes.
So I hand that over too.
Boop.
Yari hands over his rifle.
Are you keeping that knife for any specific purpose?
That was just something that Dog gave to me. I guess I have it in
I
case of an
will
emergency.
reduce its price to 0, that way it calculates on your wealth correctly.
Okay.
So, with that, you all go ahead and turn in the arms or armor that you want to be replaced. That way I can look at your wealths and give you individual, things that would enhance your utility.
So I just want to make it clear with Galeta. I'm getting a new rifle. That one's not going to be taken apart and upgraded.
I could do either or, if you wish.
I'd prefer a new weapon. I'm borrowing that one. I need to give it back to its owner someday.
Meh, fine. He kind of sets it back down on the floor in front of you.
Appreciate it.
Yes. Tim Tom will pull out the needle deagle.
And set the needle beagle down.
Do you want to turn over that shotgun as well?
Yeah, sure, I'll turn over the shot.
And your armor. It looks pitiful.
Yeah, it really kind of is. I mean, if it's not going to be too much for you, I mean,
if it's all
I don't want to be in debt to you.
Trust me, what you have brought me more than compensates for all of this equipment.
Oh.
And hey, that's good to hear, honestly.
And you, the staff, the pistol. Why are you carrying a sword and shield?
Could sell that.
Do you want it?
I don't think Sam's here at the moment.
Whatever.
We'll figure out what to do with it another time.
Moth. You have a laser rifle and pitiful armor.
Yeah, Yari just hands over the two. Sliding off the stuff and pulling out the goggles from the compartment.
Then we will start with the soldier. You wished for an upgrade to your arms and armor. You wanted a long arm, yes?
Yes, something automatic would be nice.
Automatic. Let me think. Do you want to keep that weird hammer stick?
Well, was the hammer stick something that I got from Stu, or where did that actually come from?
I believe that you kept that, didn't you?
So
Like
that
you had found that?
yeah, we'll say I just found it like on the derelict of the Majesty or something.
Right.
Well, I'm not particularly attached to it.
Then I will keep that in lieu of giving you a better weapon. How much do I have to play around with here? This is me judging how not to boost your credits into fucking bajillions.
Fair. I did put the hunting rifle back in my inventory for the record.
Understandable, but you adjusted its price to 0, right?
I did do that, yes.
Alright. Well, if you are looking for an automatic weapon, I do have a mere auto-target rifle sitting in storage.
That sounds suitable.
Again, it won't pack as much of a punch as your current arms, but it is capable of spraying and praying.
Won't pack as much of a punch. Do you have anything that's a step up from a hunting rifle, automatic or not?
It depends on how much of your own gear you wish to turn over.
I don't have much left to turn over.
Yeah.
As for me, I could use something that has a bit more range and packs a bit more punch.
He's kind of scratching his chin. I suppose I can afford to toss you this. And he kind of reaches over into the back of what appears to be a small storage compartment and pulls out something. This was a trinket from, well, a long time ago. But I've been keeping it ever since. It is very, very old. But I suppose it will suit you well. And he tosses you a simple, sleek-looking long arm. It looks expensive, to say the least.
Some sort of old laser rifle, I guess.
Yeah, he's tossing this over to the Centurion.
Okay.
It's good that this doesn't have any recorded listings for this. Thank you, Starfinder. I'm glad that nobody is updating you. Here is the armament that he is tossing to you.
Okay.
He would toss you the assault rifle level 1.
Oh, cool. Sweet.
Neat.
On to the next. He kind of extends one finger out towards the Oni. Do you want anything for your troubles?
Something with a bit of range as he sort of takes Spark and turns it into the Kanabo before turning it back.
What do you like?
something small, one-handed.
All one-handed. And he kind of almost seems to snort in disapproval. How does this sound? And he's going to kind of disappear for a bit before coming back with what appears to be a small, almost plated-looking pistol. It too looks expensive.
And I'll take it in my hand and feel the weight and sort of nod affirmatively.
Kind of seems to look back towards the next party member. You just wanted credits. And he turns over towards Timothy Thomas. You wanted a long arm that was capable of firing syringes? Are you sadistic?
No, actually, they're designed for ranged medical applications.
Oh.
And he pulls out like one of the like little darts. Well, you see, you fill up this little syringe here, and he starts going through like the whole idea of how like syringe weapons work.
After you say something about the fucking, oh, it's for medical application. Yeah, non-consensually addicting people to crack.
Nice.
What? No. Gosh, no.
So this Aeon
That's
Guard
horrible.
assault rifle doesn't appear to actually be in...
I know. You'll have to make a custom one.
Alright.
For you, then, I would suggest another suit of armor that I keep lying around, this carbon skin. They are very cheap, but it will do you well. As well as for your rifle, it will take some time to develop, but I can make a rudimentary crossbow-style weapon.
Ooh.
That sound like you're interested?
Yeah, sure.
As for you, Bird, like I mentioned before, you're carrying a sword and shield. Why?
They're just old trinkets I picked up somewhere.
Do you want them?
Not particularly.
I'll take them.
Alright.
As well as your own current arms and armor.
And it's a projectile weapon, what he gave me, right?
Read on the listing, it should say.
Yeah, it is. Okay.
So you said that you're interested in another melee weapon, as well as another pistol?
But me?
Yes, you.
No, I said I was looking for something with a bit more range and firepower. Some sort of laser rifle, I suppose.
He kind of seems to, like, curl his face up into a disgusting semblance of, like, machine and flesh. Are you one of those bravado people?
What do you mean?
How do you feel about a revolver?
A revolver would... I wouldn't hate a revolver, though it's a little similar to my current loadout. Current armaments.
He kind of lifts up his hands. I'm working with a limited supply, okay?
I mean, I suppose, depending on how strong the revolver is, you could probably fashion into some sort of rifle-like thing.
Do you want a rifle?
Revolver rifles actually do exist.
Yeah.
What do you want?
Something that's much more powerful with more range at longer distances.
He kind of starts rifling around until eventually he has to pull up his own comm fucking unit just to figure out where he's keeping this shit. Until he wanders way into the back and brings out what almost looks to be a trash can of machinery. Then he sets it down in front of you. You want something that's longer range and hits harder. Here you go. And he kind of shoves it towards you.
Fuck is this?
Well, I think the old Baldor folks used to call it an anosite ion cannon. I never bothered to use one myself.
The ion cannon.
Good luck. And he kind of shoves it into your arms.
Alright.
It is a heavy weapon.
It's a little too heavy for the. Like
You
how
said you wanted something large.
could probably tinker with this, making it something a little more suitable for my needs. Thank you.
He kind of nods his head and looks over towards the next one. Moth. I have another one of those carbon nanosuits you could use. They're easily adaptable.
That'd be wonderful.
Very well. There's that then. Feel free to alter that to your physiology. And then for a weapon, you said you wanted an upgrade to your current long arm.
Yes.
Let me take a look. I may have something that's up your interests. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah,
He's kind of peeking through his comm unit data. I still have an old Infinity rifle lying around. I thought I got rid of all of those.
So let me ask, did he give this thing to me fully loaded or not?
Oh yeah, he
Okay,
did.
great.
I'll go and fetch this item. And he goes away and eventually comes back and brings you what appears to almost look like a... It looks like two conjoined rings, almost looking like an infinity symbol in and of itself. And it's got like twin muzzles on the outer edge of one of the rings. It is very unconventional and looks like it is a relic from a ancient past.
Yarge's eyes go wide as he examined this.
Doesn't look very advanced, but it is something of interest.
I'm just testing my macros. I'm obviously not actually shooting the thing.
So, the interesting thing about this particular firearm, the ancient civilization that built these built them specifically to where they'd have a charge function. You can spend a moment and increase the damage, the output.
Yarge softly nods, listening.
To give you the tactical information, you'd have to press and control this lever here. You'd spend a movement action and you'd increase the weapon's damage by a d6.
Alright.
And there you go.
Do you have a testing range?
Here? I told you not to touch anything. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
Centurion is like shooting cans on the other side of the room.
Hey, Centauri, Mr. 447. I
What?
think you missed that can.
Yeah, well, there's a bigger target not far from me if you don't shut up.
Where? Tim Tom starts looking around.
I'll have to take some time before I can get that syringe long arm up and running. You can come back to me later.
Okay.
Oh, okay, so I can mag dump enemies in a cone to hit all of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. I like that.
Heavy weapon was designed by law enforcement agencies for capturing criminal constructs without completely destroying them. So is this like fuck up robots really bad or something?
It is an ion cannon. You asked for something large, and he brought you something large.
I was thinking something like a laser sniper, but
Maybe you should have said
should
that.
have said that.
Hey, Mr. Vaku, if nothing else, we could mount it to the buggy.
I guess a laser turret wouldn't be too bad.
Or just...
It's clearly the GM's fault for not being a mind reader.
I could describe
Yes.
that I wanted.
You really kind of didn't describe shit, honestly.
You kinda didn't.
I don't know.
You just said, I want something big and powerful, and congratulations, you got it.
You could always go back to Galeta and risk his wrath to get a sniper rifle.
He will slap your nuts for a sniper rifle.
Damn it.
I gotta say, pretty happy with this thing.
It kind of gives you a thumbs up. If you need me, I'll be working on the bear's rifle.
We'll have to discuss details about a vehicle another time.
Yari
I'm just kind of talking to myself at this point. Doesn't seem
I
like
imagine this Vaku is holding the trash can of technology.
it hits much harder than a hunting rifle, but it has a higher magazine and can hit more targets at once. I'm a fan.
Tim Tom's gonna get with Yarich after this at the campfire.
Yarich, if he can.
Oh, something else I
off
noticed
this
that was
a bit.
cool about this thing, it's not an analog weapon, which implies it has, like, targeting computers and shit.
Ooh,
Nice.
sweet.
This very much reminds me of the kinds of standard issue weapons the Concordia would issue.
Do you think I could tinker with this to make it a little more, like, suitable for what I had in mind?
Sure, make an engineering check.
Okay.
You're gonna piss off the tech priest. You're doing experiments on a weapon without the permission of the Omnissiah.
He's not.
Galata does not worship the Omnissiah. An 18, you start breaking this thing down into its like subsidiary components and begin just kind of messing around with the technology. Describe to me how you are changing this trash can.
Just gonna clean up a bit, put like a proper stock and butt on it, you know, just make it more like a rifle.
I imagine as you were sorting through all of this like different scrap and different pieces of technology here and eventually clumping this thing together. I will do some experimentation and figure out how I want to change this thing, but you have indeed made it look weirder, which is hilarious.
So I failed the check.
It was an 18.
I mean,
Yeah,
he
I
just said you made it look weirder. He didn't say you made it function worse.
So
I don't
It has
know
gone
what
from
it
Yari
looking
is.
is
like a
gonna
trash
look up to
can.
Tim Tom and ask him.
Tim
What's the one-
Top.
Tim.
Does this
Top.
imply the existence of a Tim Bottom?
Oh god.
Oh fuck.
Tim Tom's like touching on his screen, and he shows you an idea. It's like, well, I was thinking, what if we made gas grenades that put a knockout gas in the air? That's something you and I could work on.
That sounds like an idea, but first, I think what would be better is getting that the drone all set and working.
Yeah,
so
that's
that-
a great idea. Or and Tim Tom like gets really excited. It's like, or maybe we could make a drone that has like little levers on the bottom, so we could drop grenades on people. Boy,
one
that's
thing
horrible.
at a time. One thing at a
Boy, Doctor, that's pretty malicious.
No, we're just gonna drop these knockout grenades on them, and then they go
Uh-huh.
to sleep, and we just leave
Kill
them
them.
alone.
Man, you
Well-
have such a fascination with drugging people, you know that?
Hey,
My degree is in
Yarich,
pharmacology and pharmaceuticals.
got a question. Could you finish this? Could you fashion this ion can into something a bit more carryable for me? Like make it like a rifle of some sort?
So Yari's just going to go over to this monstrosity that you have been making, and looks at it. You do realize you're trying to remove parts that you need to function. This thing here. You. What? Why were you tampering with the power cell like that? You're lucky you didn't cause it to short out. But let me
I just
see.
wanted a sniper rifle, but I had a brain fart, and
Well, now you know. You've learned a valuable lesson. Speak up or shut up.
Oh god.
Damn.
So,
Sniper rifle?
this strange technology, do you want to try and convert it into something?
let's think very carefully about this.
Yari just going to examine the entire giant thing. I don't think I can really do anything with such specific parts. If I had extra parts, that would be a different thing.
Your options are becoming very clear that you need to talk with Galeta.
All right.
So either we keep this, turn it into a mount for a vehicle, or you talk to Glada.
The Centurion have just been doing target practice this entire time.
Yeah, you know what? This is something I've actually wanted.
This is underscored by the Halo assault rifle sound effect every once in a while.
You know, this is something that I've wanted to do for fucking ever. I've wanted to get some fucking handgun lessons from somebody who knows a shit. So I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna try to get fucking handgun lessons from 447 and Devin's character.
Christ, you're just taking
Yari
and
just
trying
at
to
this.
learn.
Yari just going to go out and do some shooting with the two, testing out this new weapon.
Fair enough. Is the
Yes.
sound of science and practice as a combination of projectiles, lasers, graviton particles, whatever the fuck that means.
I guess I'll go back to Galeta and see if I can, like, convince him to...
See, as you find Galeta in the back of the vault, he is, like, tearing through a shitload of parts and is currently trying to fit together this new syringe gun concept that he's working on. And as you wander over to him, he looks like he's almost prone on the ground, but stands full up, straight up, without even, like, using his arms. Like, his claw-like leg extensions are just forcing him straight. And he leers over at you and he goes, "What do you want?"
I would like to exchange this ion cannon for a laser rifle.
His skeleton-like hand comes out and the cybernetic sees the ion cannon and he just sets it aside. "Are you sure you want a sniper rifle?"
Yes.
He kind of, like, turns over his shoulder and just goes, "Why didn't you just say so?" And he starts digging through all of this.
I tried to say so earlier, but I was having problems. I'm
Eventually,
sorry about that.
he brings out what almost looks like a collapsed stick of metal and just starts snapping it into place before he hands it to you and just goes, "Take it."
Thank you.
And you realize that this thing that he has been snapping into place is apparently a very nice-looking long arm that is foldable.
Ooh.
So I'm going to take away that ion cannon that's now going to sit in a corner and rust forever, and I will give you in exchange this.
Assassin rifle.
Oh, something I found out that's pretty cool that the hunting rifle didn't have set up. In the weapon details, you can specify what kind of ammunition the gun uses.
Oh,
and
nice.
And it'll automatically draw from your ammunition pool whenever you reload. So I don't have to manually shift numbers around anymore.
I didn't know that. You guys should probably all set that up.
Okay, so assassin rifle. What this do?
You're gonna go ahead and take a brief look over and go over and start testing it out with the rest.
Look
Yeah.
at all of those fucking dice on your Reach's damage roll. Holy shit.
So, like your fucking companions, this is a bit of a more advanced piece of equipment. It is a sniper rifle, which means that you can take a movement action to use its listed range increment, which would be 250 feet instead of 60. It's unwieldy, so it can only be fired once per round, and the breakdown rule means that it can fold up to be more easily smuggled.
Alright. And I assume that it... That it's... Is it an energy-based weapon, or is it a projectile weapon?
It is a projectile weapon.
Ah. Well, it is a long-range weapon. But it's probably better to have, like, a mix of projectile and energy weapons in my inventory, so...
Fair enough.
So
How much ammo do I have for this thing?
You have what it is loaded with.
Oh, just 2 shots. Or 1 shot.
Shit!
Might have to get some more from another person.
Uh,
For the moment, while you guys are experimenting with your equipment, I would suggest that we take a break.
Sure.
Right.
Alright.
I gotta go fucking check my laundry.
I mean, depending on
What's
how
your
long that break is.
and smoke a cigarette and give myself.
What's your
self-time.
cutoff time, Brian?
I
6.
gotta be out at 6.
Alright then, I suggest we just call it here.
Yeah, I give you like enough time to like get it
Fine with that.
edited up and uploaded before you.
I
Before you
mean,
leave,
I don't really
so-
have to do much in regards of editing, so.
Well then, that is today's session. You found a weird starship, salvaged some weird equipment, met a weird fella, and then went back and dealt with another weird fella to get more shit.
I liked the skeleton fellow. I hope we meet him again. And I hope that either we learn Necron or he fucking learns Common, because I'd like to have a conversation with him.
Well, I gotta hop off, so yeah, fine.
I'm gonna go ahead and end the recording here.